matches to capside legends. Every new drop feels like the start of something. No one does it like this, we came to win. One more round, then we run it back again. We are Xbox, best brand in gaming. We are Xbox, set the whole world saying. Halo, Gears of War, they changed the game. Killer Instinct hits and we say the same. We are Xbox. We are Xbox. Hey. Halo on the screen, Master Chief in the ring. Gears hit heavy, chainsaw roar, let it sing. Killer Instinct strikes, cold, clean, fast. Every generation shows why this brand lasts. No one does it like this, we came to win. One more round, then we run it back again. We are Xbox, best brand in gaming. We are Xbox, set the whole world saying. Halo, Gears of War, they changed the game. Killer Instinct hits and we say the same. We are Xbox. We are Xbox. Forza making great moves. Fast lane, new shine. Fable got that magic, and it's all doing fine. Big worlds, bold dreams, that's the way they play. Every time they move, they make the whole scene sway. We are Xbox, best brand in gaming. We are Xbox, louder than the training. Halo, Gears of War, they changed the game. Killer Instinct hits and we say the same. We are Xbox. We are Xbox. Forza making great moves. Fable's great too. We are Xbox. That's what we do. Green glow in the room, boot up, lock and boom. One brand, one frame, everybody knows the name. From late night matches to capside legends, every new drop feels like the start of something. No one does it like this, we came to win. One more round, then we run it back again. We are
Hello, everyone. How you guys doing today? And welcome to We Are Xbox, episode 1, the podcast. Should this be called, this episode, should it be called The Whale? Since you'll be talking to a couple of whales. We have our special guest here, Tim Dog, which at the last second said he wanted to come on. And he's always welcome here. Frank is here, and we might be joined by Noof Nukem in about a half an hour or so. So shout out to Noof. And well, let's get started with the show. We're here to talk about Xbox and how they could fix this brand. And you know, we we've been buying consoles forever. Me and Frank. He's been coming with me to buy the consoles. And just we were hardcore Xbox fans until a couple of years ago when they started doing all this crazy stuff. And we were like, maybe we should focus more on the other side. So we've always owned all the consoles anyway. I buy all the machines when they come out. And now here we are. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
we've been around since original Xbox, me and you for sure.
Yeah.
Me
Um,
too.
and
Beta
Tim,
tester.
I bet
yeah, I mean it's just we have a long legacy with this brand.
big
So,
time. I still have my original. I have the Halo Xbox downstairs. Actually, it might be over here. It might not even be downstairs. I have all the 360s that are custom. I have the Gears one. I have the Halo one. I have the what was it, Halo Reach, all that stuff. Yeah. So we've invested a lot of money and time into this brand. I own over 1,000 digital games on my account. My wife also has an account, and I have several other accounts that I purchase digital games on. I have physical games, which I got rid of most of them a couple of years ago, but I still have a bunch of physical stuff as well. So, it sucks that Xbox was acting weird the last couple of years, but I like what they're doing now. And the fact that we all coined the phrase "we are Xbox" and then they ran with it a week later, I think that's a telltale sign that they're listening to us. So I appreciate that.
yeah, that's the best thing you can ask for from a company, especially now that they've changed hands a little bit, is that they're listening and we can tell they're taking the feedback because we've seen it. I mean, we've seen the newsletter, all the stuff last week. The fact that even just the logo changed, that's like a big sign like, hey, fresh coat of paint, we're on a new road here, and they're listening, which is awesome. So I just hope they keep doing that. So it's really good so far.
Yeah, I have to say, we were talking pre-show. Uh, I'm very excited. Listen, didn't think that when I originally when she came on, at first I thought she was actually the HR person that I heard about, and I was like, oh no, that means that they're sunsetting it. And Seamus was actually right, but one of the first stories I heard was I talked to somebody that was there at the Phil retirement, and I heard that this particular person said, I'm hearing a lot of good things about her. Um, I heard she's humble and all this stuff. And then this particular person had an interview with her. The following, he had two interviews with her. And on the first interview, he called me right after and he goes, wow, she's really impressive. Um, and one of the first stories I heard too was that, uh, on the first day that she got hired, not the day that they had Phil, because you remember she was hired, she wrote that email. She wrote two emails out about bugs and bug testing. And people were very surprised because they hadn't seen that, especially from now a CEO. Not to say that Phil was not sending them out, but I don't think he was sending them out on a regular basis. So she came in, obviously, she came in and you heard a lot of the negativity, some stuff was kind of unfair to her. She's not a gamer, this and that, but she came in and she started working from day one. And what I heard, this is real stuff too. She asked for the long game, so she wants to play this long, which means that was a signal that I kind of figured that they might be doing exclusives or some sort of exclusives. Um, she also said that she wants to be aggressive and she knows that it's gonna, this is a big a big challenge. But in the first 2 months, I have to say, um, really impressed. Really impressed. And the last I was like, okay, like there was like five things. There's been five things that she's done. Um One of the first things that she did, remember when she got the Xbox resume that you can turn it off? Do you remember that?
Yeah, quick resume.
So she did that, and then she there was like a little bit of there was like little things, and I'm like, okay, that's a little bit of a W. But last week, the way she handled it and the way she came out with that energy, I'm like, okay, we got something going on here. And the fact that she mentioned exclusivity and she did that on purpose, that I'm like, okay, I'm down with this. You know me, guys. I'm very in your face, braggadocious, and I'm very New York type mentality. That spoke to me when she did that. I was like, okay, here we go. This girl is like on fire. And listen, the logo, let's be honest, the logo is a 10 of 10. I mean,
Oh
that's a
yeah.
simple thing, but it's really a cool logo. It inspired people. And like we talked about this pre-show, the analytics of last week, I don't remember ever seeing even close. I mean, you're talking about 25, 27 million views on the Dextero post, 300,000 likes. Um, your posts, Frank, my posts, my engagement was up. I had 900,000 followers, 900 not followers, but 900,000 impressions in
Wow.
4 days. So
Wow.
that's so that means people are very interested. Now, if this was a dead brand where you hear that a lot, you would not see that type of numbers. I mean, those are
Right.
numbers that I even think startled them. Because I had talked to some people over the weekend, and I told them, I said, listen, you gotta. Obviously, you probably know this, but I said, check the analytics on everyone's accounts. I said, something's up here. So I think this week and next week, I think that they should do a price drop, and I think something might happen. They might not have a traditional price where they just announce it, but in my opinion, I think they should. I think that they have an opportunity to get share back immediately, and all us three are the telltale signs. Like, I own 1,000 games
Yep.
digitally. I have 5 Xboxes, or I gave one away, but I have in every room. I have an Xbox TV on the cloud. I have the Samsung OLED, and I'm back in now. Like that, says a lot. And you guys are now confidence. And I think this really just speaks to one thing, and that's confidence. If they show the confidence, we're going to show the confidence. It's the same type of thing with the person. If they're teetering and they're unconfident, or they're not saying things with conviction, you're going to be like, okay, I'm not, I don't trust that. I don't trust that person. That doesn't resonate with me. But she's resonating, I think, with all of us, and I can tell you,
Yes.
there's a lot of happy Xbox fans um, that I've interacted with, and I still interact now. There was a lot. I used to talk with everyone. Like, I used to have obviously, you know, all types of tweets. I still do, but not as much, because my break from Xbox was so rough that I definitely burned some bridges per se and whatever. But I have to say, it was a nice couple of days. Still, I think very people are very happy, man. People want to love this brand.
Hell yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, we're definitely excited. And by the way, the guy that I sent you the screenshot,
mhm.
that he wrote on Microsoft Word, and he said it was okay to send all that. That's Dreben in the chat room, by the way. Just so you
Yes, I'm
know.
gonna. He gave me the permission. I'm gonna send anybody who wants to send an email. Just hit me with a DM. I'll give you my. I put it up my email, as long as it's not obviously it's a professional type email.
Right,
And
right.
you don't have to say what I want. I really want you to say what you want as a fan. And from me doing that, and I've talked to maybe now I gotta look because it's a pretty high number. Everyone is pretty much saying the same thing. They want exclusives now. How they're going to do it, I don't know, but I think that that has to be a priority. And I was okay with 4 exclusives, like the Trinity or whatever you want to call them, Halo, Gears. But seeing this type of reaction, I really think that they should go for everything,
Right.
and that includes Call of Duty in 2032. Like, I think that that should be the angle, and I think that's the best angle for them to go because it shows that confidence, and people like exclusive things, and there's a lot of things that Xbox can have that's exclusive, whether it be Helix, which is a pre-built, or X if they redesign it and make it a baseline, or they do something like they make S like a type of game that can sometimes play it, and then if the game is too extensive or too intensive, just play it off the cloud. I mean, they have a lot of options here, and they still can do Game Pass with, obviously you're not gonna have day and date, but you could still have Game Pass and it's still unbelievable service because you're gonna be getting all these games a year, or some, like, I would think like Elder Scrolls, the remake, any remakes you could do day one.
And you still have the back
Playing,
catalog too, like PlayStation
yeah,
Plus, you know?
crazy. It's crazy.
You could drop Game Pass to 15 a month and keep the back catalog there. That's why, and that would be a lot of money. I'm sorry. It would be $15 a month coming in. It'd still be revenue coming in. You might get more
Right.
subscribers because they might be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I want to play Gears 2 or 3. They're not remastered yet. So maybe I'll go back and do that. Maybe I want to play Fable. Or I would say you should do what Sony does. They do the trials on PlayStation Plus, like a 1 hour, 2 hour trial of a game. And that's successful for them because people play the game, they get involved with the game, and then they're like, oh, you know what? I ran out of my 1 hour, my 2 hours. I got to buy the game to finish the game. I'm just going to buy it. You know what I mean? That might be the
I
better
mean,
way to go.
the optics, and then I want to hear what you have to say, Frank, but the optics of a price drop again would freaking get everyone crazy. Nobody really cared that it was day and date. Some of this stuff you think is so clear cut, like people are going to go crazy, but people were actually more. I saw that one tweet where it said, "This is the first time in my life I've seen a subscription model drop price. Like they had a price drop."
Yep.
That was the story. So the point is that I think if they had another price drop, even though that they dropped day and date, I think it's a win. We said this pre-show, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. To me, I think Game Pass is a failed experiment. It
Yeah.
was a great idea, but it just didn't do the numbers that can. The developers, I feel, are pushing the games out quick. They're lazy,
Yes.
sloppy,
Yep.
and what do you guys think?
Well, really quick to add to that, Game Pass was originally created to sell consoles. A lot of people forgot about that. Like, I
Yes.
remember it. It was, hey, they're buying PlayStations. How about we just give them our games for $10 a month? They're going to buy our console. When that didn't work, then they were like, oh, well, we're going to add third parties and we're going to do this. And then we're going to bundle it with Xbox Live. And then we're going to bundle it with EA Play. Like, they did all this stuff to like get you to go over there. And they anchored down 30 million people plus, but that was it. They never got any farther than that. And I think, like you said, that's where the failed experiment comes in, because they're thinking, who's going to turn this down, when they didn't realize everyone's over there already happy. And then you still have Xbox people that are like, well, I'll go here because I'm Xbox. But go ahead, Frank.
When Game Pass was cheap and the Series S was $299, it was a good idea because you were getting people in. It was the cheapest entry point. It offered a lot of good stuff. Like what we always bring this up. My nephew, young kid, perfect for him. He got the Series S. It was cheap. He had the Game Pass. Then everything went skyrocketing. He's not going to pay $30 a month anymore. So he fell out of the ecosystem. He was just as quickly as you can bring people in with that idea is as quickly as you're going to lose them, especially with the price increase. So I agree with Tim and with you, Perry. I think they should pull the day one games. They should lower that price down. And especially now, while they have all these optics and they have people talking about this, they should strike with the dropping the price
Agreed.
of the console. Not even if they do it permanently, if they just hit right now and say, listen, it's $100 less, or if they could go crazy and make it like 399, like just it'd be
I love
insane.
it. I love
Yeah.
it. This is a great idea. I see. This is the exact energy I think that they need to do. Because, like you said, it's so hot right now. Even if you do it for 2 months to June 7th or whatever, a week
Yep.
after, you're gonna have a hysteria going on.
Oh yeah.
Sony right now, even though they did have Saros come out, they just
Yeah.
had some bad optics with the DRM. As ironic as that, for 30 days, now you have to sign in. But
Yep.
that's the energy. That's what I'm talking about. It's hard for me to articulate it, but I could just feel it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, just got to do that. Like, if the place would go nuts. It's like a stadium. Like I know you guys are wrestling fans, and like I see the NWO. We were talking about that, but it's kind of like, I feel like it's like the crowd is going nuts right now, and then this is like when, the guy comes out, like the price drop is like when Mankind comes out, and everyone just goes hysterical. And sometimes it's just optics like that that just get it, like, do you ever hear the statement, it just becomes fun to be, something just becomes popular out of nowhere, just becomes
Yes.
popular again, and it
Yeah.
really has no rhyme or reason, but it just is. I kind of feel like Xbox can actually get that, and that's part of the reason why I'm on the case too.
Yeah.
Now, I'm on the case, guys. I'm writing the emails. I'm talking to executives. Um, I have made a lot of. I haven't made enemies, but I definitely have burned some bridges. But I've not burned bridges that really matter. Put it that way.
Ooh. Okay.
So the fact is that I will still get listened to. If I write an email, it will get read. And people are still watching probably this show. And that's, obviously, I wasn't even on the show and they said we are Xbox. But I know for a fact what they do. They watch these shows like us. They are like us, a lot of them, and the people in the organization, and they're passionate and they feel it right now, just like we do.
I will.
So,
I will say this real quick though, Tim. I
sure.
think you, me, Frank, Noof, and Anthony should all get free helixes at some point.
Well,
I'm
listen,
just
if I
saying.
got a
I'm gonna
helix, I
buy them
give it
anyway,
away.
but whatever.
I give it to whoever. But somebody asked me if I wanted to go to FanFest. I don't want to. At this point, I don't. It was never about that. And I know that you're not saying it is that about you. You've been a loyal fan, but for me, it's really just about doing the right thing for the fans.
Yeah.
I could have easily, and I know I beat this drum a lot. I could easily just been that guy that said, "Oh, I think Sarah's brilliant, and I think Phil's awesome, and 4 games, just 4 games." And I could have just, made money and turned my Twitter off, and just played the game
Right.
per se. I could have done that very easily, guys, very easily, and I could have made a lot more money. Be 100,000. I'd be flown out. I'd be giving every card. I'd be having helixes in the mail, or
Man.
the whatever. I'm a man of I care about the fans. I
Right.
care about you guys. I don't like preferential treatment. I don't like that. It's like, I remember I got into a fight with Ybarra once, and he's like, "You better watch what you're saying. This is about
Whoa.
a crackdown." And I said, "Mike, you think I care about a shirt? You think I care about going to FanFest, and hanging out?" I said, "Dude, I have a life, bro. I have like a lot of fans. I have friends. I mean, a family. Uh, you know, I'm doing this because I believe in it. That's
Right.
all that matters. It's not about that stuff." And I think, honestly, I have to say that makes me different than a lot of the people that, I'm not saying all, but it does make me different. And I am proud of myself that I'm that way, because I know it's the right way to be. But if I'm being quite honest, it's the tougher way to be. It's tougher. There's days where
We all know
feel
here.
a little, you feel bad. There's days like that. Yeah, I felt a little less, lonely in an aspect, like, where I felt like, I lost friends, and there was a part of it where, there was something that there was like, which, it was cool playing with the CEO, and people, coming to me and saying, "Oh, Tim, that's awesome. Can I get this? Can I get that?" Not that I like that, but when that stopped, when that stopped, I saw people change.
Right.
And that's not a nice feeling, to be honest. That's kind of, I can't. It's hard to explain the feeling, but it's not. It kind of is annoying. It's like, dude, like, I got you into FanFest, and now all of a sudden, you're talking crap about me, or you're not saying that I did, like, you forgot all the things that I've done.
Right.
And that happened with certain people, but there was also certain people that did stay by me, and stayed my friend. Noof was one of them.
Yep.
um King was pretty cool. Like, he defended me. But there were other guys that it bothered me. If I'm gonna be completely honest, it was kind of upsetting, because I do things for other people, and I do it, when I'm in a position of power, or a position where I can get things done. I do it out of the kindness of my heart.
Yep.
So, it's not that I expect it back, but it kind of does suck when you see it, and then you see it, how when you have no pull anymore, or you're kind of like, blacklisted in a way. That does suck.
Yeah.
That's not a good feeling. I'm just being transparent here. So, it's kind of nice, though, that now that I'm back, I kind of know, people like yourself, Noof, and other people that, really stuck by me. And some of it was just not even sticking by me, by, helping me out. Some of it was just not saying bad things about me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, there were guys like that I went on their shows, and I spent 3 hours on their shows, and, they were bothering me all week to go on, and I kind of didn't even want to go, but I did it. And those same people, are then, like, say, taking pot shots at me.
Wow.
And so that's, like, infuriating in some aspects. And that was part of the things. It's like, when I saw that, I did go at those people. You know what I mean? So it was ugly, but, it was a learning experience, and that's all behind me now. And I've learned lessons, and some of it was my fault. But like, as far as, like, making myself vulnerable in that aspect, I guess. But I'm really excited. Like, I have to say, like, I'm very excited right now. Like, I feel like this is going in a really good direction, and this could be really fun. I'm gonna game again right now. I'm taking a break. I'm reading the Bible, finishing it. When I'm done, I'm gonna definitely play. I want to get it done by GTA 6. I love gaming. And I'm not a gamer like you guys that play all the time, but I definitely love gaming, and I like quality games.
Yes.
So the point is that I'm super excited right now, and I feel it. So whatever I'm feeling, I think that a lot of people are feeling some type of thing about Xbox. It's hard to explain, but it seems like there's something in the air about it.
Well, I'll tell you something. And Dreeben in the chat, I know him personally. Like, he's an actual person. I see him. I speak to him. His whole thing was he always wanted to get back into Xbox, but they always stepped on the rake, or there was always something that happened that scared him away.
Yes.
And he's like, I want to buy one, but I don't want to buy one if this is happening. I want to wait a little bit. And then he waited and waited and waited. And then they said, okay, we stepped on 25 rakes, $649. And he's like, I'm out. like I'm totally not buying one.
No, very understandable, to be honest.
So, I mean, and again, he doesn't even have a PS5. He has a Switch 2 and a PS4 Pro. He didn't even upgrade to next gen because he was like, I don't know which one to go with. And the Sony's giving me the same games over again. Xbox, they just don't know what the hell they're doing. So he's like, he doesn't even know where to go at this point. Now, this price drop would help him, and reassurance of the brand would actually help him as well make a decision. And then you would have somebody jumping back in the ecosystem right there. That guy right there in the chat room right now, Dreeben, he's waiting to buy an Xbox. So
And those things matter. Like,
they do.
people will say, "Oh, it's just one guy," but it really isn't like that, because when you get momentum, and it's like anything else, sometimes it becomes it feeds off of itself. And you look at the momentum that Sony PlayStation 4 got after the E3, and that whole moment where they did the the game with the commercial, and the E3 and the mic throw. Like, there was a series of events that like happened that were, you didn't think, you thought it was really cool at the time, but it sticks around, and then it just like, it takes, it's weird, but it kind of like, it takes a life of its own. And that's what happened with Sony. If you remember, they were neck and neck in December. Actually, this Xbox One in December of 2013, and then January you saw Sony start to pull ahead, and then by like April, and that was when Phil took over of 2014, Xbox cratered. And that's
Yep.
the thing, because of that momentum, like what I'm talking about is that thing that starts to take a life of its own. That, like, that's what I feel like, if Xbox can grasp that moment now, it could be the opposite. They can, they can get a 5% share back this year,
Yeah.
because there's so many people that, like you said, like Frank and everyone, like all of us, Noof, like, we're ready to be there. It's just that they have to give us a reason, and they also have to be confident about it, because we're very perceptive as consumers. There's nobody, in my opinion, there's nobody more perceptive than gamers as a consumer. Like, any little thing, the smallest thing, we pick up on. So we're going to pick up on the positive stuff, and that's what's been happening here. We've had about 7 positive things happen, or like little small things that we've noticed, and then we got hit with the big one last week. 2 big ones: the logo, and then she's talking about the exclusivity, and like, now we're cooking with oil, whatever the statement is. But it's really, it feels like that, and this can totally, snowball, and get even better. You know what I mean? Like, this could really, in my opinion, get them back, not like not overnight, but like I said,
Yeah.
in 2013, for the span of 4 months, it was such a huge thing that that remember that May, or that April, they were like, oh my, like, they were like, wow. Like, I remember it was a big thing. I forgot how many consoles they sold, but in that MPD. But the point is that it can change pretty fast.
Yeah. And listen, Dreeben's one guy. Imagine there's more Dreebens out there. There's not just one. They want Xbox, but they didn't want that version of Xbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're out there, they're waiting, and that's why your engagements and your impressions were so high the last week and a half, 2 weeks, because they want Xbox. But you have to give them a reason to go get an Xbox or join the ecosystem or jump back in. You can win those people back. Sony's doing nothing. What are they doing? They're giving no remasters and remakes. And they release 2 games a year. Why? Because they rested on their laurels. They got all the top games from Xbox coming to their platform this year. So they released 2 games, Saros and Wolverine. Saros, to me, it looks like a reskinned Returnal. And I'm not even buying that. I'm not even bothering with that. Okay? Wolverine, maybe. I got to see what that's like. But at the end of the day, you got 1 game this year. Big deal. Okay? Capcom's been killing it for everybody. And they're just resting on their laurels. You need competition. That's why we got a $900 PlayStation 5 Pro right now. because they don't see Xbox as a threat. So
100%.
they need to compete. While Sony's laying down, enjoying the sun, Xbox needs to just show up and step on their balls, I guess, and be like, get out of here, like kick them in a pool or something. You know what I mean?
100%.
Look how fast the good
Got to
news
strike while the
traveled.
iron's hot. Go ahead. Sorry.
Look how fast the good news traveled. It happened, and there's obviously the millions of impressions. Those people are not chronically online. That's not the same people. They reached people that they don't normally reach, which is huge. They haven't been able to do that in a while. That's why I think now, like you said, strike when the iron's hot. I would just go crazy. I would drop that console price in June for Gears of War E-Day. I would stamp. That's why I posted that logo. I would stamp back that only on Xbox logo right back on as soon as the trailer ends. Be like, boom, only on Xbox. Give
Just
people a
that one,
reason
that'd
to
be
come
awesome.
back. Yeah,
That one, right? The exact. Oh man, that'd be awesome.
yeah. People would go crazy. They would go absolutely nuts if they confirmed right then and there. Said, listen, this game, at least this game, only on Xbox. Boom.
Starting with that game. That's what they need to say.
Right, but I saw Asha said she doesn't want to jump into make exclusivity, whatever, right away. That's fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah, whatever.
hit us with something while it's hot.
I think Gears they're gonna do that. I honestly feel they're gonna do that. I think that's gonna be the one gift that we're given. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do that. But because she was also saying things like, oh, if you remember, she said, we'll change it until we don't, or whatever, when she first came on. So the point is that they know when to strike, and listen, that's so set up. The room will go crazy when they do that.
Yeah.
And listen, Gears is not a big deal. Like, it's not a hard decision. If it was Forza, yeah, that's a little bit much harder decision. But Gears, the most it ever sold was 7 million. To take a pillar like that and put it on PlayStation 5, it's self-destructive. It's the only thing it is. So I do think that I'm pretty sure. I'd say I'm 90% sure they're gonna do that. You're not gonna see no PS5 logo on that. No way.
Well, Noof is here. Our other special guest.
Boom, baby.
There you are. What's going on?
What's going on? Frank, Perry, Tim, John. Good to be in the house. We
What's up,
are
bro?
Xbox. Yeah, man, it's good to be here. Glad I can stop by at least for a little while. It's got some important stuff to do shortly, but yeah, I thought I'd pop in and show my support and say hello to everybody in the amazing chat as always. Here for a reason, baby. Here for a reason, Good old Xbox, Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable. Look, man, I don't want to, beat the drum over and over and over again, but we're a different type of fan.
Yep.
We've been there since the beginning. We saw the brand grow. We grew with it as well, and there's no question. We're to the point now where this is not like your first console and you've got like 5 or 6 games and the investment is very small. We've invested years of our lives.
Yep.
We've invested time. We've invested money. We've invested our emotions. We got excited. We've been through the pinnacles. We've been through those E3 shows. We've been through the Xbox showcases where, they had us hanging by a thread and had us screaming from the rooftops about great games. Look, I mean, Xbox is trying to do a lot of consumer-friendly decisions, and that's fine and dandy. It's great. We totally get it. But again, they made an unnecessary pivot. It's not like Xbox was at a point in their, at least in my opinion, I don't think Xbox was at a point where they were like, oh my God, we are really struggling to do well. And, we can't sell these consoles to people and, having a hard time selling their games. Sure, every company out there would love for every one of their titles to sell, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million copies. But you know what? Even the best of games, even some of the most biggest and brightest games, no matter what the install base, struggle to sell 5, 10, 15 million copies. And I think it's largely not because games aren't great or they're not good or whatever. It's because the gaming landscape is so much more saturated than it was 15, 20 years ago. There's competing for cell phones. There's competing in the VR space. There's competing for the retro game. There's competition all over the board. But as far as I'm concerned, and always have been, the direct competition, at least for me, towards Xbox has been PlayStation. They are the most, they are the two brands that are sort of like almost identical in many ways, but yet very different. And they're certainly different in the way that they've approached consumers over the years. I've always said Xbox is the more consumer friendly brand. They've done so many things that made a ton of sense. But again, taking all your games and putting all your flagship games on other competitors was the one thing that really made no sense, no matter how much people in this community tried to defend it. It's like, so what is the point? You know, there are
Right.
people, yes, go get a PC, get a PC. But for most of us who are console gamers, we're not PC guys. I'm certainly not. And there's a difference between the two. Even though they're closely related, there is something simple, amazing, and just downright refined about a console experience. People don't want the hassle. They don't want to have to get new graphics cards every 6 months. They don't want to have 5 billion Windows updates, and they don't want to have constant compatibility issues with games. They don't want there's yeah, if you got the money, you got the time, and you got the means to have this unbelievable power horse PC in your house, all the more power to you. But at the end of the day, the average Xbox gamer is there for Xbox. It's there for the console. We want the best experience that we can have for hopefully the least amount of money that we can essentially pay. And it's just a lot of confusion, all the SKUs and everything else. But at the end of the day, man, we just want great games. And I'm not against Sony not having a couple. I mean, Sony's put Helldivers over on Xbox, and obviously Sony sees the benefit of at least expanding some of these user bases. And again, case by case basis. And some of those games, rightfully so, might do really well on PlayStation and deserve a home there. But I don't think you put the whole works on. And I think even if you're going to do exclusivity and you're going to give them some games, like make it timed. Again, make it time. Make them suffer a little bit. Sony has no issue with spitting in our face and taking our games and muddy hatting projects. Like at every chance they get, they've tried to bury Xbox.
Oh yeah.
And then you got your own fan base almost trying to bury Xbox. I don't want to bury it. I'm not ready to put the shovel in. But I love this new mantra. I love this new logo. I love the slogan. I love where they're going with it. I mean, only time will tell. But if they play their cards right and they listen to the Tim Dogs of the world, who've been very adamant about all of these crazy changes over the years and how they are going to affect people, again, you don't have a successful successful steak restaurant and all of a sudden you cater to all the vegetarians. You know what's going to happen to your steak business, right? Well, that's exactly kind of what Xbox did. They were the meat and potatoes, the steak restaurant, and all of a sudden they got too busy worried about trying to get the vegetarian crowd and the ice cream crowd, and you know what I mean? And they forgot about the people that we're not just one-time purchasers. We just don't go into the game store and spend $5 on a microtransaction, which is great. I mean, that adds up over time. But we're the people that influence other people to buy. We're the people that spend the $90 on a game when it comes out, not like wait until like 6 months before it goes on sale. We're the people that invest up front, and we are the influencer generation. We are the people that help build the brand. We stoke the fires, and these other crowds keep it going. That's where we're at.
I feel like I'm a very fair person when it comes to this, and I think I've been fair with Xbox. I really think I've been completely honest about Xbox. But when you do something like they did, I'm sorry that, like you said, that is you just don't go there. You don't go there in any type of business or any type of. It's to be honest, if it's disrespectful. It really that's the way I felt. I felt it was disrespectful. I felt like Xbox fans have always been by Xbox, like all of us, and you first hit us with we're going to put Gears on PC, and now you have to deal with that. And at that time, Xbox and PlayStation were like really, they were really fighting, and it's like, okay, we'll go along with it, and we'll do that, and then the whole CMA thing. You have the fans writing letters and backing you and saying this is what we got to do. It's good for this. So I just feel like the fans really gave a lot to Xbox and also took a lot of shit from PlayStation, and Xbox also took a ton of shit from Jim Ryan and
Yep.
that whole thing
Yeah, yeah.
being completely disrespected, and then for you to come out there and do that and then also lie about it, like, that was what also got me too, like, really pissed off, was is they come out there, they have this business meeting, and then the next day or the next week Sarah's having an all hands on meeting similar to what Asha had, and she's saying all of our games are coming to all screens. So they're having two different messages, and to me, that's just like, don't play me for a fool.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's why I was so aggressive and so kind of scorched earth on Xbox, is because that's the way I honestly felt. I was like, you guys are gonna do this, and then second of all, uh, business there's no foundation. So when you don't have that exclusivity, you don't have a foundation. So the whole entire thing was flawed. And I stuck, and you guys did too, but I really stuck in that position from day one when they did this on February, whatever, 16th it was, 2024. And I did not deviate the whole time. And I, even when like Sarah was saying, it's nobody likes consoles anymore, and she was saying all these stupid things, putting a green and blue heart in her messaging, and I could pick up on all this stuff. I not only did I my intensity went up,
Yeah.
and it got to the point where it got really ugly towards the end, when I was calling Gerard a cock, and I'm like just being completely like wild, because I felt like you're being wild, like
Yeah.
you're being humiliating us. You're having this guy wear a shirt, and
Yeah.
I've spent $50,000 on your brand, and this is the way you're treating us. And for me, that was just like the reason why I was so aggressive, was like, it was a disrespectful feeling. But if you look at it, I think it's fair to say you show confidence, you show that you're betting on yourself and that you have confidence in your studios. I think it all works itself out,
Yes.
assuming that you can actually make good games. Which, if I am being honest, they've done a decent job with that recently, but overall they've gotten like an F or like a D. Like, their games have been good, but they're like, been okay, but they could have been much better. Halo Infinite, absolute horror
Yeah.
show showing that in 2022.
Oh yeah.
Redfall, what was that? Like, why would you even do that?
20 minutes,
Starfield,
remember?
delay it
Yeah.
till it gets to 60 frames per second,
Yep.
or at least have an option. Like, these are things that I have to say Sony always
Yeah.
understood the messaging, and they didn't go ahead with it if
Well,
they didn't have it right.
even look at like the production and the level of things that come from Bethesda since being under the Xbox banner. It's almost like they've been given an open checkbook, but at the same time, they're not really doing much with anything. Like even Pete Hines wasn't long getting out of there. It's like, what the hell is going on? Xbox
Yeah.
takes over, and all these big executive guys all of a sudden just find their the mood to retire or get out of the business. It's too weird to me.
Yeah, of a good point. And listen. I remember when one of the big red flags that I remember was, and I remember talking to Phil, and he was kind of like selling Game Pass to me with the day and date, and it was weird because I wasn't really being like, I wasn't questioning it, and I remember there was a thing where I think he thought I was questioning it, and he was like, he kind of got like a little strange on it, like he was trying to sell me on it, and that was like a little bit of a red flag. But also another red flag was when you were very critical of it. I'm like, oh, I said, Noof is a guy I really respect his opinion, and he's saying this is no good. And I remember I was like, I'm not going to get mad at him, because like at that point, you're my friend. I don't want, but I actually listened to what you said, and I remember just like say, like I was a little taken back,
Yep.
and you were right. You were right 100%. And Crap was right too, because Crap said it too. But you were
Mhm.
really I remember you were the most loudest
It was
about
very
the
vocal, yeah,
podcast.
very vocal,
And
very
you
vocal.
were right, man. And that's and I give you your flowers on that because I was like I went with it. I thought it was a good
And
idea, but when it obviously like we said when it hit 30 million and it drops off
yeah,
a cliff and then they come out with COD
well,
and it doesn't move
it's
anything, you
because
got
it's also
problems.
because it's also because I was following what was happening with Netflix quite well as well, and I could saw that obviously Game Pass, obviously took inspiration from a lot of the streaming models like Netflix and different things. They were trying to see what they were doing, and sure, they thought they could get more. They could get a steady income instead of the one-time purchases. But like I said, the day and date stuff was really the biggest kicker. And I knew that because when I saw when Gears 5 came up, which was shortly after, Game Pass was kind of starting to hit a bit of its peak there. And I watched the hardcore Gears fans like not buy the actual game, they were just playing it on Game Pass. I said, like, that's weird. Like, that's weird to me, right? Because, like, for me, I'm a huge Gear fan, and I couldn't wait to get down. I had my pre-order copy. I don't know. I can't even remember if they did the midnight launch, but like, I even went out and bought the Gears 5 Xbox One X.
I did too.
And the game and everything, and I bought the collector's edition and all this sort of stuff. I love that game, and I said, oh, you know what? When the hardcore guys aren't even buying it, they're playing it in Game Pass. I said, so what else? And then you turn around when you got Game Pass and you're not buying the Xbox games, the ones who are spending the most money to put these games on the platform, then what you're buying third party stuff, with the extra money, which is all fine and dandy, but like again, I don't think they thought it through like overly well, and they rushed into it and they just thought it was going to be instant success. And sure, I guess if you did get 50 million or 60 million out the gate, and you were making hand over fist where you could afford to take a loss on certain things, but that's not the case.
Right.
They thought it would move consoles. They thought it would move countless
100%.
subscriptions. And they alienated the hardcore guys that like to go in and buy physical. They screwed up their relationship with half the retailers. Because now, like I said, you saw it the other day, but like a guy posts a picture of the Xbox section in the store, and it's in the back corner, basically next to the shitter. And I'm like, like come on, man! Like, how are people supposed to walk in your store and you're trying to promote a brand when you got a section that's that's not much bigger than your mom's pantry, and most of it then is used games or like it's just so sad when it's not prominent. It should be front row and center. You're $1 billion company. And you spent money with GameStop of all people too. You partner with these guys to help promote shit. Where is it? Why does it look like it's an afterthought? It's like if you want your stuff. So who are you catering to at this point? Who's supposed to buy your product? And like we talked about on the podcast the other night, Perry, like the average consumer, the people that essentially they've been targeting for the last couple of years, have no idea about half the games that come out. They have no idea about any of the stuff that we talk about because they're not in the know.
Right.
So if they're not walking in and they're not getting informed at the store level, at the retail level, those people are lost. And guess what they're going to buy? They're going to buy the cheapest thing.
Yep.
They're going to buy the thing that the person at the counter tells them to buy, which is probably not Xbox, because they're going to go, well, Xbox is dead. You don't want to buy that. And they got no exclusives, right? This is where they're going.
I've seen that.
Go, and they're going to lose their money.
Though. It's 100%
And they do it.
true.
Yeah. And it's not one customer, that's hundreds of customers. Multiply that by thousands across North America alone. And look at how much market share they lost in Europe. I mean, look, Japan's a lost cause. China and all this, pretty much a lost cause. Look, if I was them, I would have just basically, I would just not even bother hardly with them anymore. I would have just I'll invest in the publishers and they can put it out, but I wouldn't be spending a ton of money over there because they basically stuck their finger up to us for the last 20 years and said, go screw yourselves. Concentrate on the places that you do make the money in. And I said, I guess one great analogy just to end off here, not to take too much time, but it's kind of like the feeling people say, well, you guys are being childish and you're just thinking too much about this stuff and it's only games. Yes, to some degree, you're right. But here's the other thing. And it's like the cable companies, right? Your internet providers. How many of you guys here have been with an internet provider for like a decade or over a decade?
Right here, baby.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and you pay month in, you pay month out. You're religiously a customer of that brand, right? And then all of a sudden, you ever notice that when they're trying to bring in new people, they give them all these great bonuses and they give them this great contract, and you get nothing. You're like, where's my handout? Where's my loyalty bonus for fucking being with you for 20 years? But you give all the other stuff to these others. You know, it's like
The new
watching a game
customer,
coming out on. Yeah, it's like watching a game coming out on Xbox, and all of a sudden you're promoting the best version on the PS5 Pro
Ah,
when the Xbox Series X was supposed to be your flagship. And
yeah.
talk about that. Like during COVID, remember I used to talk about this, Perry? I used to say,
Yep.
look, where's all the advertising for the Series X? It was like the black sheep of the family. This is supposed to be your flagship, but all I ever saw was Series S promotions. Series S, Series S, Series S.
I just saw
Like,
that
where's
guy
where's the
flying
X?
from the sky.
the X?
Whoa! Empower your
Right?
dreams. That's all I
You know
saw.
what it is? You're firing me up, Noof, because I agree so much with you.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like they gotta pretend that they're just coming into the market, like they're the OG
Yeah.
Xbox. Like you gotta fundamentally change everything. You gotta get yourself visible in the stores again.
Yep.
That's a problem. You gotta have exclusives. You gotta you gotta deprogram everyone from Game Pass. You just I think we talked about this earlier. You weren't there. We would take day and date away, and you have another price drop. People love the price drop, and you just start moving from there. You know, like these are things that are absolutely making sense, and that's the thing. They have to know this. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and they do. So we have to assume that they're going to do this, but listen. They need a store presence. You
They
cannot.
do.
You know, we talked about that one person, and I'm thinking about it. All those people that come in, but it's also, let's say it's a time like July 4th, and the thing you have somebody coming in and they're talking about PlayStation. They're talking about PlayStation front and center. Always talking about front and center. That affects. You know, they say if they say one good experience with I don't want to I can't really talk about it because it involves my employer, but they say it affects 14 people or something. Like if it's a bad experience, it affects 14
Right.
people. So the point is that it grows like wildfire. So
Yes.
basically, they got to do this stuff, and it just I honestly, I'm not gonna say, I used to always say it drives me nuts because they didn't know what they were doing, and that was what I got in a lot of trouble because I basically said, Sarah doesn't know what the hell she's doing, and I think I was right. You know what I mean? I honestly, I think it was proven right. People extrapolated that I was saying different things. No,
Yeah.
it was just that she doesn't, but I kind of feel that Asha actually does it. So I'm not going to say that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like right now, and these are things that they have to start doing. It's not, they have to do these things.
Come on,
That's like the
Tim. Don't you
store,
want
like,
this? The next Xbox? Right?
Do you
know,
think
like-
that maybe they were victims of their own conviction, that they were so convinced that their eiters were the best way to go for the brand that they kind of knew what
You
we're
know how I
saying
got-
now, but they just chose to ignore it.
I don't know what the hell happened, but I can tell you one thing. It's completely warped because I'll tell you what I think it was. And somebody mentioned it. It was they ran away from the truth. First of all, they never faced the truth.
Right.
They basically they would do at all costs run away from it. So you bring something up and then you go to another subject. They never faced things head on. And it just got to the point where it just was not one of those things. It was like 12 of those things they did in a row where they just lost their way. I mean,
Mhm.
you're losing to the stupid whatever. That thing makes me nuts. You lost to the Fisher, the toaster, or whatever.
I have that. I have that downstairs in the fridges.
They didn't have any. Remember the you used to get the Walmart,
Yeah.
the Walmart ad,
Yeah.
or whatever the hell that was.
We sent that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost to a toaster. I don't know what the hell they lost to. I'm like, that was it. So I honestly, I do think they get it, and these are the things that they need to do. And I really, my thing is I would get rid of the Game Pass.
Yeah.
Get off of that. Because I need exclusives, in my opinion.
Yeah. And last
You're
year,
totally right, though. Not to interrupt, but you're totally right. I would say, okay, I don't have to buy Gears. Guess what? I'm going to buy the third-party game, And the problem with that is that I do buy the third party game, but Xbox only gets a 30% cut of that. Whereas if
Yeah.
they got actually me to buy the gears, they get what, 70% of the full percentage.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
And the
make
hard,
sense.
and I want you to forget is the hardcore fans typically have a lot of times double dip all the time. Because look at the boys at the top of me.
I'm
here with
triple
Frank and
dipping.
Barry. Those guys got like Resident Evil, for example. They got like practically every version of the damn game.
I do.
Right? You know? You'll get Gears at full price, guaranteed. You'll probably download it when it's like half price on sale because you want to have like the digital copy or like it's not going to be everybody. I'm not saying everybody's going to do it, but at the same time, like if you didn't put Gears that year it came out, Gears 5, you didn't put that in Game Pass, I guarantee you that any real Gears fan was going out and buying the game regardless, and nobody would have complained.
Yeah, and they gotta have a price check. This is a test. They gotta have some type of price. When is Gears coming out? I mean, when is Forza coming out? May 6th, is it, or 16th? Is it May 6th?
16th. Let me see. Hold on. I'll tell you right now.
So we got to give them a time frame. I'm thinking
May 19th.
Okay, so it's the 20. I'm going to give them 2 weeks. Let's give them to the Friday. You're going to give them 2 Fridays, I guess. They have to have some type of program. They have to. Why wouldn't you? At this point, I would be. Listen, if they're really cooking with oil or whatever, I whatever that statement is, punchy. But if they're doing that, they're gonna have we're gonna hear tomorrow, like, hey, for a limited time, we're gonna have they need a price drop right now. Like you got everyone hyped up. And again, those type of analytics that we talked about, 100%, that shows that people are willing to look at your brand. And and if you looked at the comments, which I did, many were positive. Many were like, oh, a lot of them were like, oh, a lot of them were jokes, like, some jokes about, oh, an Indian woman comes in, she saves it. This is what a timeline I would never think, but she's with. But most of it was like, it was jokes, but it was very positive. It wasn't like usually with Xbox, it's like, the plague. You look like you just read like 7 comments in a row, and it's just all just bashing.
If I was Ash, I would have had fun with it. I would have heard those comments and be like, "Yeah, I'm an Indian woman. Guess what? The next Xbox is sponsored by Quickie Mart."
I agree. I honestly feel though that she's handled it well. She's not sensitive. Previous management would make it a big thing. Like who cares? Everyone on the internet is going to say stupid things. The bottom line is that even the people that say the stupid things and the mean things, if you put out a good product, they'll buy it and they'll be positive. That's the reality.
Yeah, and you know what? And sometimes maybe that was a benefit, is that she came in, yes, with great business experience and successes from other areas, but sometimes maybe not being, wrapped up in games or not being around it gave her a fresh perspective to look at things like a new person going in, like a new fan, and and taking what we're saying with a lot more grain of salt, because probably to like the older experience to have an Xbox, we just sound like noise at this point. Well, it's just those old cronies going on, but they're crap again. Yeah. But if somebody else comes in and and sits down with Satya and says, Satya, we have a successful brand. We have a successful brand, and it has shown that it can be resilient, and it has shown that it can be extremely profitable. Even without the whole, throwing all our eggs in the Game Pass basket. But we got to get back to what made us big in the first place. And, that's what it always falls down on, is that you have to go back to the well. The stuff that makes you successful is what you have to rely on time and time again. Like, we know price is paramount for stuff. We get that, especially for budgets, consumers. But you're right, Tim. This is you have to strike now while the iron is hot. Will they have momentum? Will they have hype? Will they have eyes on the brand while fans are talking positive? You make this thing cheap. Right now, what's the big thing everybody's complaining about? How costs are going up. Costs going up. So you know what? Come in and take that loss. Take that loss like you took the loss on the Red Rings of Death. And that's the kind of balls and the kind of gumption that Xbox had at that point, was to bring it back from basically the brink. When they could have tanked and that brand could have went under, Steve Ballmer and Peter Moore and those guys said, you know what? F it. Look, we're our fans are there for us, and we proved it because we bought more than one console.
Yep.
And they backed it up, and they brought us the great games, and they did almost everything perfect during the 360.
Well
And
said.
yeah, and that's what they got to do. Get back to what works. And yeah, you can't bring back the past, but it doesn't. You can't learn from it, and you can't stray
Exactly.
too far from your core. And I'm going to time and time again. It's the core people that will spend the money, that will invest in the brand, and us alone. And now with influencers being bigger than ever, like you want to have positivity around the brand, not constant, your hardcore Xbox flip floppers now or bitching. It's not that we want to bitch. I tell people this: we're not bitching for the sake of it's clickbait. We're going to get hits on our channel. We're bitching because we love the brand exponentially. We love it enough that we bought more games and more consoles and more controllers and more products from this company than any of you false morons out there. And don't look at you little twat waffle guys who got fucking PlayStations that you might have picked an Xbox up for whatever reason, but like you're just like, that's the thing. Us Xbox guys, we're not that stupid or foolish that we wouldn't buy a PlayStation to play their best games. And it should have been that way with Xbox. But of course they just, anyway, I'm kind of off on a weird tangent here, but where I'm going with this,
you're just
right?
passionate, and I love it. And not
Right.
to dominate the, we're all just hyped up right now. I think that
yeah.
we're all really we want we actually
We want them
love
to
it.
succeed.
We love the brand. We love what it's about, and there's a lot of people like us. So you know what? Take care of us, and we'll take care of
Yes.
you. That's really what
Yeah.
if you
Exactly.
if you just break it down, it just comes to that. And I told Lulu that, and she agreed with me. It's like two people that want to. It's like two people that want to love each other. All you got to do is love each other. That means they gotta prioritize us, and then we'll just come back and we'll give you what you want. We'll buy your games. We spent money. It's never. I got 1,000 games owned like you guys. We're talking 1,000 games. I had set console. Every console I got, every controller, the 800 controllers that they have had.
Yeah.
I got them
did
downstairs.
everything. So the bottom line is we just both we all have passion, and they just got to show that passion back, and it'll just come back. They got to make some smart moves. Right now, they definitely need a price drop, even if it's for 2 weeks. You just got to do something, because if you want share, now's the time. It's not,
Yeah.
and people, when you show energy and you match the energy, especially in this day and age, people eat it up, man. They
Yes.
love when like the way she handled last week, people loved it. And the analytics, they didn't
Yeah.
like go twofold. They went like 18-fold. Like I'd never seen anything like that. And I talked to some Xbox people. I said, those are crooked numbers. Like those are numbers that, scratch your head. Like, wow, like what's going on here? Like this is not.
And those are numbers they were
last-
ignoring for the last 3 years, whatever it's been. You know what I mean? The last
Yeah, I
administration.
agree.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is how they set up success for the Helix. This is how they set up
Yes.
success going forward. Is to bring back the hardcore, is to reel us back in, keep us hungry, keep us satisfied, concentrate on making some great games moving forward. Because if there's one thing that they just need is a pillar game that'll just kind of blow the doors off of things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no easy task because games are subjective. You know what? Some people think is a 10 and somebody else is 7. I get that. But look, we all know that Halo Infinite was supposed to be the thing and it wasn't. We've certainly seen how Gears took a few sort of steps backward, and hopefully that Emergence Day, becomes sort of that throwback in that the game that they need. But they have to be realistic. They had to realize that Gears is not going to be a game that's probably likely to sell 20 million copies. It's a game that we like. Everybody here is probably going to buy it and play it day one. But that's the thing. They have to be fine with knowing that not every game is going to be Grand Theft Auto, and they got to fix the tiering with the Game Pass. They can keep Game Pass. I think it's part of the whole plan moving forward. I totally get it. It's hard to walk away from that now, but they got to restructure it that it works for more than just one or two sets of fans. Essentially, we don't need all the fluff. We don't give us the stuff that we're asking for. I could care less about the day and date games because I buy my shit anyway. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always going to be with me. I'll buy what I can afford and I'll get it on day one if I feel the game is worth buying on day one. And that's bottom line. But just like I said, strike while the iron is hot. You got all the momentum right now working up in a positive way for a change, which is nice. But that's the thing. The last generation too, like over the last 5 years, it was like, oh, 1 week they come out and give us this great news and this great game, and like like literally couldn't get out of their own way. Like a week later, you'd be having a podcast about something stupid that they did. Oh, this game got canceled just after giving us some great news. Oh, this game is canceled. And you're like, can Xbox stop, treading on the right foot with the left? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think
What?
oh, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go back to really quick what Noof said earlier about GameStop partnering with Xbox. They partnered with Xbox partnered with GameStop. GameStop employees weren't told, "Hey, try to sell Xbox, please." GameStop employees were telling people, "Yeah, you don't want an Xbox." When Xbox is paying them to sell their consoles, that needs to stop. Like, if somebody makes that deal ever again, they need to let the corporate managers, whatever, hey, we're paying you guys to sell our console. Your employees can't be these crazy fanboy guys that are saying don't buy this stuff because we're paying you to sell it. That's what I like about GameStop. They think they're helping you, but they're not. They're just being stupid.
Even when I used to go to GameStop EB Games, and this happened so many times, it used to piss me off. As I'd walk in and I'd literally ask the counter and say, "Can I get a copy of this game for Xbox?" And the person would look at me and go, "You sure you didn't want it on PlayStation?"
Yeah, I hate
Right?
that.
Or you didn't want it for, you didn't want that for the PlayStation? It's Xbox, correct? And I'm like, do I stutter? I said Xbox, dude.
It's true though. I've seen that too.
Right?
Like,
I had that all the
trying to sell you
time.
out of it.
The Xbox One pre-order. We pre-ordered the PS4 and the Xbox One when they were announced for pre-order. This is back in the day. The guy at GameStop told Frank, "Oh, you're really stupid if you pre-order the Xbox One. It's got DRM." It's like, who gives a shit? He's got both of them. Like, what does it matter? Your job is to sell you a machine.
I just wanted to give them money, and I guess he didn't want it. So,
well, you did anyway. You bought it, so
obviously, yeah. I had every single Xbox day one except for the original, I think.
But that's the
or
stuff that's
close
got to
to it.
stop. Like, I have my own business and I sell stuff, and we don't do that stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, really shouldn't the people should not say anything. So you shouldn't be doing that. I agree. And that actually went on. I don't know if it still goes on because Xbox doesn't really have a presence there.
Oh, it goes
But
on.
they have to change the visual optics with physical, and just like GameStop. I think that's something that they can easily do. They would have to obviously speak to GameStop or whatever, or Best Buy, or like they could revitalize the sections.
Yeah.
But there's things like that, that they really need to get on top of. This isn't a lost cause, though. That's the thing. I think that they have an opportunity here to really make moves, but it's numerous moves. It's the Game Pass. It's pricing. They gotta let the price. It's the optics. I mean, there's about like 7 things. But if she does slowly but surely, like I knew COD was a big problem, but I feel that the Game Pass, as much as we all like the day and date, I do feel like if they just went to a price drop and said we're not doing day and date, it's physically, we can't do it financially, it would actually be positive. I don't think that they would get murdered.
People will live with it. They'll
People
fuss
will
for
live
a
with it,
month.
and then they'll forget about it, and then they'll stop buying the games again.
Yep.
And then that'll make because Xbox does have the ability to sell its games on PC, and it's accepted. Whereas Sony can't do that because their base is completely against it, which you got to respect that. But the reality is that Xbox is a little bit different. You can play your game. You can have cross progression. You can cross achievements. It's one inclusive experience through devices. So Xbox can actually do that. So the point is that they can actually have revenue from the Windows Store if they do it, or they could sell it on Steam. I really don't have a problem with that. And then they also will have the ability to sell it on the console. And if they make the X and they start to get share back, then you're starting to actually, get it in a little healthy area. because the main thing is that Game Pass did not do what it was supposed to do. The projection was for 70 million by 2027. They're not touching that, and then it was 100 million by 2030. That was their progressions for them to be, to start to be like.
Will any of us be
financially
alive
sound.
by then?
Yeah.
They're saying
Now,
this
who
stuff.
knows?
They're saying this stuff in 2020. It's like, bro, in 10 years, I don't know where I'm at in 10 years. Am I even living in the same house in 10 years? Like, you want me to wait for this Xbox shit? I got real
true.
life going on. Like,
It's true. They had a real bad plan, and unfortunately, I think it was as bold as the plan was, and they went ahead with it. I feel like it's nothing. It's a lot more conservative to just go absolutely crazy with all exclusives and like. Listen, I'm at the point like. From my reaction from the people from there, everyone's saying they want obviously the 4 games, but everyone's saying they want all exclusives. And if Xbox could somehow get this to the point where they're doing well, they can make everything exclusive. They don't have the one thing about those deals, other than COD, which is they're contractually um required to put it on all the systems till 2032. They could put Elder Scrolls 6. They could put Fallout. They could do everything exclusive or timed. They could do it. And the thing is that if you do get to the point where you're in a good position and people are actually buying your console and it's getting healthy and you're getting to a really good spot, and then you can drop these exclusives, then you
Yeah.
can really start to go the other way where you're like taking PlayStation guys. Because the reality is that, let's say Elder Scrolls is that game. It is amazing. It's like it's like Elder Scrolls 5.
Yeah.
And you actually have it and you have it exclusive to your ecosystem. That's a
Yeah.
huge sell. A guy
Oh,
like
yeah.
me, I bought PlayStation 3 for 1 game, the show. I'm a baseball guy, but that's the point is that yeah, we
Yes.
do have digital libraries, but if there is that 1 game, that one experience, here, listen, the ultimate game is if well, put it this way, if Xbox they had said $40 billion, they didn't buy Activision, and they didn't do this whole thing. They did $40 billion, and they got Grand Theft Auto 6. They got that 1 game, just 1 game. Do you realize? And they had an exclusive. How much power that would have for their system?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Huge.
Everyone would buy that game. Everyone would buy an Xbox. PlayStation guys would. But the point I'm making is that you really don't ever know. Fortnite came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? At first, it was a totally different game. But imagine Xbox had something like Fortnite for just Xbox. You know what I mean? The point is that again, 1 game can change the trajectory of everything. So exclusives, in my opinion, have they have unlimited weight. It's just something that you should never give that away.
Yeah.
And for them to give that away is just like it's giving
And
you're giving
again,
your golden card away.
and just for people that don't really understand economics, because we constantly find ourselves having to re-explain that situation is exclusives. Yes, the constant story we constantly hear is, oh well, it's gonna sell. It'll help sell a console, but Microsoft don't make a lot of money, or if anything at all, on the console. See, this is the point that everybody loses. The point is, the more consoles you sell, it increases the user base. The bigger the
Yes.
user base means the higher the attachment rate tends to be. It's also about selling controllers. It's about selling other things. And guess who loves to see attachment rate and to see user numbers are third parties. When you're going to Japan and you're trying to seal a deal to get these big games to come to your platform, they want to see numbers. They want to see that it's worth their while to invest in development. And it's hard to do when you're trailing behind the competitor by 40 or 50 million units. That's a staggering number. So, we see this time and time again where games would start out being in development and they cancel them because they just didn't feel it was worth it. And of course, with the 2 SKU system Xbox had this generation, that certainly didn't help. I don't care if people says, having to make one for the X and one for the S was not a great scenario for most of these publishers. But that's the whole point. Selling exclusive sell consoles. Good games sell consoles, and in turn, consoles help sell third-party games, and that's a win for everybody. Microsoft gets a cut. Third parties are happy. Gamers are. We're all freaking happy. So you have to sell. Again, the box is the delivery method. That's how it gets into homes, and people like to have a console with a controller that's simple to use, that's more affordable. That's what they want. They don't want any of this. They don't want junk. They don't want confusion. They don't want mixed messaging. People are, again, they don't watch a lot of podcasts. They want it to be simple. You walk into a retailer, it needs to be on the shelf. It needs to be hopefully affordable. And that's where you have to market to the average consumer. The hardcore guys, you don't need to market. You don't have to sell me on Xbox. I'm sold on it. You just put a good game on that thing, or you give me the games I like, and I'm sold. I'm going to buy one. Everybody here is probably like lined up to buy a Helix, if the machine is sensible and it's got games. But you try to do that to the average consumer, it's a little more difficult. But anyway, that's all it is. It's just, again, sell the console with an exclusive, you sell other games, and timed exclusive, even that we've seen time and time again. I got tired of waiting for games to come to Xbox that Sony money had it, and they said, what, frig it, I'll get a PlayStation, I'm going to play it. If I want to play it, I'll go buy the PlayStation. That's why I have all the consoles. You think Nintendo's going to put any of their games on anybody? Not a damn chance, because they know how to play this ball game. They know how to do it, right? And I don't know if you heard me the other night, Tim, but what I was saying to the boys, and the boys agreed, Xbox should bring back, remember when we had like the greatest hits titles? They should re-release now some of these old classic games that people might have forgotten about, and make them all back and pat, and actually bring them out on discs. Put them back in and make them in the stores. I think that'd be so cool. It'd be great marketing and a great way to sell your newer franchises, because you can bring them back to some of the old stuff.
Interesting. You also made a point about games being canceled. There's no reason why Xbox could just say, Fable, we're not doing it. Like, the point is that they don't have, like, people like, well, they announced it. It doesn't matter. They could say they're not contractually, they don't have to, in my opinion, have to put the game out. They could just say, oh, we've had a change in policy. We've had new leadership. We decided that it was not financially, because the point is that another thing, if you gain your base and you start gaining your base back, one of the problems with what Asha's thing was is that her philosophy was she was niching the market. One of the biggest things that you make money on is the store. So when people buy DLC and stuff like that, and they buy you have a bunch of people that are on your store or on your system or your eco, and they're playing Fortnite, and they're buying all the the DLC, or Grand Theft Auto 6, and they're buying all the DLC. That's big money. So when you niche your market and you lose that, and you don't have those people in your market, you're also losing that. So to build share, when people are like, why, you can make this money Gears on PlayStation, it's free money. No, it isn't. Because if you build share and you have the people that come because of the exclusive, and like every game is like on PlayStation, they're just going to buy PlayStation, but you actually have exclusives, and then you start getting people into the ecosystem, you solve that problem. The cost of that person staying with you and not going to PlayStation outweighs the 3 mil. I mean, he's selling 140,000 copies on Starfield. You're putting porting involved in that. You're dealing with that, and then you're hurting your brand.
Yep.
That's like a net 20% loss.
Yeah.
So
Plus they have the entire development costs too. Like, think about Call of Duty. PlayStation, everyone's saying, they only get 20-30%. Yeah, but they have zero development costs, or close to nothing comparatively. I mean, it's just like free money that they're getting, and it's taking people away from your brand, and they're just the ones profiting. Like, I said this before a million times. When they got ABK, if they day one said, all these games, their home is on Xbox, it's only going to be on Xbox, Doom, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, we would be having a completely different conversation about share right now, because everybody was enough there besides Call of Duty that people would have said, wait, I can only play Doom over here, I can only play Fallout over here, I can only play Fable over here. People would have just stuck to Xbox, and I think that was the big pivoting moment, and that's where the dip in quality began, because they're saying, hey, they're not buying the games here. PlayStation people are buying it. Let's market to PlayStation people because they're giving us full price for the games. Let's make it
Yeah.
look good and run on the Pro and say all this crazy stuff about the Pro because they're paying the price. These guys aren't buying the games over here, and then we suffered with a dip in quality. So I think
Yeah,
that's
100%.
the exclusivity thing. It should have been nipped in the bud right when they acquired Activision. Said, listen, whatever we're obligated to put on, we will. Anything else, it's all here at Xbox. That's it.
Definitive, clear statement, and they didn't make it. They were teetering. Game Pass exists, this and that. Then they go back on it. Yeah, 100%. You have to. They have to be. They have to be concrete with this, in my opinion. The messaging has to be clear. And here's the thing: if you're gonna not have exclusives, and you're going to go that route, you're basically of doing what Sarah was doing, and that proved itself to be, you just destroyed, deteriorated your brand,
Yep.
and you almost made it irrelevant. So they have to have exclusivity. It's just how much are they going to have it? My opinion, I think they should go for broke. I think that they should just say, you know what, we're going to have to take a little bit of a loss here, but we're going to go real hardcore on this, and they go about this like they just entered the. They're not going to think about. I mean, obviously that's hard to say to the shareholders, but you know what? Their stupid plan was so bad that they got that past the shareholders. I'm sure if they say, hey, we're just doing a whole return, we're going back to like we're selling an Xbox from day one. No Xbox is sold. We're gonna have everything that we talked about in this podcast. We're gonna do, and we're going to have full exclusives too. And that
Yeah.
includes in 2032, we're going to have an unveiling of Call of Duty, and that's going to be exclusive. Like, that's a
Well,
bold plan. I think that would work. I really do.
Well, see, here's the thing, and like me and Perry and Frank, we were saying again on the podcast the other night. I said, like, typically for me, like, I have all the three consoles, right? But in most cases, 80% or 70 to 80% most of the time of my income when I'm buying games was guess for what platform? It was Xbox. I was spending money in the Xbox ecosystem,
Yep.
right? I'd buy the odd exclusive for PlayStation and Nintendo. See how this goes?
Exactly.
But guess what happened over the last year or 2 years, as a matter of fact? I started going to reverse where I'm spending 60 or 70% of my income basically on Nintendo and PlayStation over Xbox because Xbox wasn't giving me what I wanted. And they were pissing me off. And I chose to be like, you know what? Why should I reward Xbox when they're not rewarding me, when they're not giving me nothing back?
Yep, exactly.
And that's where I was. And that's how it went. And we're not the only ones. So, that's a big loss. They might not look out. We might look like a handful of, a nitwits. But man, we spend a lot of money on their stuff, and you take that over the course of several thousand people. I'm not the only one. We're not the only ones who basically stopped spending or buying third-party games or even exclusives in the Xbox ecosystem. We did it, and they gotta take that into account,
100%, and not to be too long-winded, because I know and thank you guys for having me on and really going off, because I'm excited too. But the point is also with all this, how many times did you guys come to me and other people come to me and say, "Hey Tim, are my games safe?" Because like this is really getting fucked up. Excuse me, it's getting really bad. And are my games safe? Are they just going to close down? You know how many times I've gotten asked that question?
Yeah.
It's like I've gotten it asked all the time. I'm like, well, then they're talking about game preservation and all this stuff. It's like that right there should tell you everything. When gamers are coming to people and they're saying, "Oh, my game's safe,"
Yep.
your whole entire thing is done. Your
Yep.
whole entire business is done.
Mhm.
So they have to get as far away from that mindset that they did, and what that insanity that they were trying to sell us. And that's why, again, I knew it was insanity from day one. And, now you're starting to see the pivot backs from people like, yeah, I always said exclusives matter. And you're going to even see that more, but
Yeah.
that's just, and listen, I'm not going to be petty over it. I listen,
Yeah.
believe me, I know exactly who said what. And I know everyone who said, oh, this is a great idea. I'm not going to hold people I'm not going to say, hey, you did that. I don't care.
Right.
If you're an Xbox fan, in my opinion, you're a part of my community. I'm an Xbox guy, and we'll move it from there. You know what I mean? The bottom line is that the gamers we're kind of just like, hey, can we buy games? And we don't want to be like completely screwed over. And unfortunately, they were in a position where they were getting screwed over. And there was, like, I remember in January, I had a couple of people, and I'm like, can I be honest with you? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know, man. I was just like, get all your games on PlayStation.
That's what
And
we
that
were
was just
doing.
me being honest, because like, what are you gonna do? Because you know how these companies are. When they cut bait, they cut bait. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Mhm,
Like,
yeah.
they just say, oh, well, whatever. We delisted the game, or whatever. Did we even get our money back from Grounded? Oh no, not from Redfall. I bought some
Yeah.
DLC. I don't even know what happened.
Bite Back Edition, which we
Yeah.
called Bite My Ass
Yeah.
Edition, because that's pretty
And
much what they said.
get your studios in order too, man, because that whole
Yeah.
initiative, that initiative thing is what a fiasco.
Oh,
What an
wow.
unbelievable fiasco.
What if yes? I mean, listen, I forgot about the initiative. That was really bad. And then also that other game, Perfect Dark. Oh, that was
Yeah.
perfect. That was initiative. That was a good.
Yeah.
My
You
wife
know,
and I were
they-
waiting for that game, Tim. And then
They
when I
went
showed her
out
the
and
trailer,
purposely-
she couldn't
they
believe it. She was
gloated-
happy.
They
Then
gloated about hiring like all some of the best in the industry and the head guys from Crystal Dynamics and Naughty Dog and a whole bunch of people. Oh, we assembled a
Drew
who's who. We
Murray.
got a quadruple A studio and like not even nothing to show for it. Like what the frig?
They showed us.
Honest
They
to
showed us.
God.
That was another thing that they were doing. This is another thing that Phil used to do. He'd be like, "I think, as somebody who called firstly, this is one of the things that he went back on. He said, I don't release games that are not up to a certain quality." And then he releases. He cancels Fable. He said he canceled Fable Legends, which looked a lot
Yeah.
better than Crackdown 3. But he
Yeah.
he would always say these things, and then he would go back. One of the other things was, you remember this one? I like to show a game within a year from release.
yeah, I remember that.
So
That's a good one.
Crackdown.
he basically showed, he showed about 6 games that weren't even in development. Well, like the one game, State of Decay 3.
Yeah.
What was that? Like, it wasn't
The
even.
zombie deer,
they
Tim.
don't
The
even
zombie
know.
deer. Come on.
Yeah, like that's pretty crazy. And that's, I mean, there were a lot of things. Like, I remember I
And
took a lot of flack. I'm like, I do
and
not
then
know what.
Tim, I mean, I gotta ask you, Tim, is Rare being paid to keep the greenhouse and greenhouse up over there?
It was a
Is that
barn,
what's going
Noof.
on? Are they keeping the barn? Is that what they're being paid to do over at Rare? Is just keep the barn and the greenhouse in good shape? Because I mean, they haven't done damn thing since Sea of Thieves. Remember how many games they pumped out in the 360 generation? And I
Yeah.
keep saying, man, like, what the hell? How do you pay these guys money and you've got one game to show for how many years now?
Yeah, you're right. Well, one of
Come
the games,
on.
Banjo was one of the games that, and and I don't really fault Phil for this, but a lot of people said this with Xbox, and they had the history of, like, you take developers and you don't give them creative freedom, and you don't, you tell them what to do, and that's a horrible thing that Xbox did. So Phil took that, and to his credit, he was hands off. And I take this too, because I remember at the time I was talking with him about it. I said, I think that's the right, I think that, it's the right, especially with considering everything, that's the right idea. Well, guess what? It wasn't the right idea, because, like, Banjo was a game that Rare said they didn't want to do, but in my opinion, I mean, you could say what you want about Banjo, but that's a game that, there are some games that a studio or like a company like Microsoft that is paying paying your check that they say you should make, and unfortunately that bit them as well. That snake bit them as well, because were doing games that they wanted to do, and just nobody liked them. I mean, there was a passion project. Remember that game? What the hell was that game's name? It was horrible.
Bleeding Edge.
Bleeding Edge. Yeah, that was a
See, I got a sealed copy of that game like an
Yeah.
idiot.
I never
No,
needed
they-
to play it. I have that damn thing.
You know, and yeah, I really want them to get to the point where they're professional. They weren't professional. I have to, if I'm being quite honest. It more or less was something where Phil was under constant pressure that Satya was, you know, they were underperforming division, and he was trying to save money here and there, taking money for marketing, you know, going with marketers like, you know, like that are people on X, you know, like that's your marketing and it's cheap, and it's like that
Yeah, but
doesn't
your
work. You
marketing,
need real marketing.
the problem with that is, and I'm in retail, you're marketing to people that are already going to buy this thing when you do that.
Yeah.
You're not marketing to the masses when you think you are, but you're really not, because you see all the guys on X, they're all hardcore Xbox guys like we are. Like we're like Dreeben. Dreeben's in the chat. He's not on X. He doesn't know what's going on. And he's an everyday guy. Like he doesn't go on the internet like we do. He doesn't know all this stuff.
True though.
So I can
Well,
understand where
I'll
he
say-
thought that was going to be big, but at the same time, you're in the bubble. You know what I mean? You're
Well,
in the
I'm
echo
gonna-
chamber.
I'll tell you guys this much: if I'm running a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Microsoft and Xbox is obviously part of my brand, any of those studios that I hire and I hire them to make a game, I'm going to tell you this: I would have them make the game. Okay. Obviously, it could be delays. We get that's part of the industry, but at the end of the day, I would tell them the game comes out. You guys are going to sit there and you're going to make it until it comes out, because otherwise, why am I paying you 5 or 6 years to turn around and you have no product to show for anything? I'd rather the game come out and be an absolute failure than have them spend fucking, you know, $250 million and the game doesn't come out at all. Because then what have you paid people for? Nothing.
But Capcom's had like 20 games come out in the last like 5-10 years. No, not 5 years, but in the last like 10-15 years. Capcom's been pumping out games up there and game of the year contenders. Look at Resident Evil 9.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how come they can do it and they don't have anywhere near the money Microsoft does? And Microsoft can't get one freaking game out. That's what I've
They
always
stay
wondered.
on top of them. That's the difference.
Well, they
don't-
also
there's-
have pride in their work too. You know what I mean? They're not
Right.
going to sit there. Look at Metroid, okay? They played Metroid and they were like, you know what? Scrap this whole game and start it again. They came back a few
Yeah.
months later. You know what? This game still sucks. Scrap it and
Move
start
your
over
studio-
again.
Move your studios to Japan. I guarantee you shit comes out.
It took Metroid 4 or 5 years to come out, but you know what? It's out.
and it was quality.
It
You
was
know?
quality, and they were happy with it, and the fans are happy with it. Why couldn't that be Perfect Dark? Like, why is Perfect Dark at the? Why am I getting a pottery game instead of Perfect Dark? I mean, come on, man. That's not why I bought the freaking Xbox.
They just set them wild with the,
Yeah.
the,
And
the
the-
checkbook,
and
and,
the-
they
That's
don't.
so funny.
The banjo
Like
game.
they're lazy. It's like they're
Friggin-
lazy.
The banjo game.
Double,
Eh,
I don't know.
Listen,
Double Fine is like, I love that studio and I love Tim Schafer, but like, you know, you go make Psychonauts 2, which was one of my favorite games
Yeah.
that year it came out. I loved it to pieces. And then your next game is that stupid Lighthouse game, which looked like a friggin' dildo with a light on it. It was going all over the
yeah.
place.
oh man,
Like,
Why wouldn't they
What
just
the-
make
I tried-
Psychonauts 3?
I tried playing it. And I'm like, guys, I understand you're trying to be original, but you know these games are not going to sell very well. You know that, right?
Honestly, it's kind of
Uh,
infuriating that you look at and this has been 8 years, 9 years. They did well. This was actually 13 years, but I mean, Xbox actually started to have studios in 2018, and yeah, man, I have to say, they're in need of actually some quality games,
Yes.
some professionalism, and some real some reality, because I've heard too, like there was always like participation trophies. You ever hear that statement?
yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there wasn't like, I mean, they were very, conscious of the worker, which is fine. I mean, listen, you realize there are other studios that do take advantage of their workers, make them work 120 hours a week,
Yeah.
and constantly on their ass. Where Xbox is like, hey, it's mental stress day, and you can go out to the beach and just sign it off, and we'll write it off on mental health day, like stupid stuff like that, like where there's not a premium put on, like hey guys, like there isn't that pressure, and I hate to say it showed, and it showed all around. I'm not saying that you're gonna run sweatshops, but it's just like
Well,
when you come to work, you got to have a certain level
yeah.
Well, we were
of getting
seeing
it done.
them
Maybe you
riding.
don't have to run sweatshops, but I don't think anybody's sweating at all over at Microsoft. Think?
Well, we were
The last
seeing.
time I think I seen anybody sweat at Microsoft was when Steve Ballmer was there, and I guarantee if Steve Ballmer was still running the show,
forget
it.
studios would have been sweating bullets.
You'd be like,
Oh yeah,
Jason goes to hell, opening every door. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I used to fight with Crap on that, because Crap was one, he was saying it, and he was like, I don't know what's going on there, and I'm like, why are you like? I said, I just get, and Crap was right. I'll give it to him. He said that they would just they were lazy, or there was a lack of pressure, and Mike also, from when he did work there, he would tell me things like no high fives, because I think that's what he saw all the time, was is like they were living in this world where they're getting beaten to the point where it's like a joke, and they're still saying, "Hey guys, we're awesome." And there was nobody in that room other than Mike, and Mike got fired for it. I heard Mike told Bonnie that she that he was critical. He was critical of people that weren't doing their job. He was critical of Halo. He
Sure.
said to me in 2020, I think in the DM, he told me in 2018, he said, they're screwing up Halo. He said, he said they're screwing it up, and he was right.
Yeah.
And that was like, remember, they went through like two directors, and they got rid of the multiplayer guy. I forgot the names, but Mike was spot on. But that was the thing about Mike, and then Mike was like kind of like the black sheep of Microsoft. And then and me and Mike sometimes have arguments and stuff, and he pisses me off sometimes. So I'm not kissing up to him. But Mike went to Prize Picks, and he absolutely, he made it so he basically last year got $100 million bonus. So the point is that they were saying Mike was too much, and he's too intense, and he's too combative, but the reality is that Mike was always a winner, and unfortunately, people like that tend to get the results where people like Phil don't. And you look at like Steve Jobs, and the only thing you heard about Steve Jobs, and rest his soul, is that he was, I knew somebody, my step uncle worked for him, and he said he was the meanest man he ever knew, but he said you respected him for it, because just that's the way they are, what I mean? The brilliant people are the people that, they don't accept, there's no participation trophies. If you're not
Yeah.
first, you're last.
Yeah,
So.
I mean it's a fine line to walk. I mean, you get it. We've heard all about how the industry got mad at studios with the crunch and this, and all these articles. But there is a fine line to walk, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you got a product to make, and deadlines can't be taken loosely. Like you get, that's why they're there to begin with. Because if there was just an open, it's an open money pit, and there's no real like timeline to get stuff done, it'd be like kids doing homework, right? Like. That's why in school you had timelines to get your assignments in, because if there was an open-ended assignment, nobody would do it until the last minute, at least most people, right? And I assume that sometimes in jobs it's the same way. You got to have deadlines, and you got to have someone that is able to be respected enough, but also like, be able to come in and, lay some boots to ass once in a while. It's like, guys, like, everybody's getting evaluated here. We understand, we don't need you here 14 hours a day, every single day of the week, but you got to be productive while you are here. Like you can't be enough of these lattes and go down and play foosball in the middle of the day. And
they had the scooters when they were showing development of games. They're riding the little scooters around,
guys. You know, like you see some of the stuff, and you know damn well. I mean, some studios are very strict, but like, it can't be
It's
no
true
coincidence
though.
that
It's
most of
just so true what you're
it
saying
can't
though.
be a coincidence. It can't be a coincidence that the Japanese studios and the Korean studios are pumping out all these games, and over here in
Yeah.
North America, it's like everything is delayed,
How, how
canceled,
about the
delayed. Like,
Chinese
what the heck,
studios? The
right? That's
freaking
what I mean.
look at the Chinese studio that made Wukong. They had 50 people and they had AAA quality and it came out on time or whatever. I mean, even though it was
Yeah.
delayed. But the point is that yeah, you make a great point. Um there it's kind of it's kind
Even
of it speaks for
what do you
itself. The
what do you
results
call it?
speak for itself.
Yeah, Joseph Fares in his little small studio, the guys that made It Takes Two, and the latest one. What's that
Yes.
one? Split
Split Fiction.
Fiction. They put out what 4 or 5 games in less than 10 years, and I know they're not big, massive AAA things, but the fact of the matter is, most of his games
They
are
put good
critically
games
acclaimed.
out.
They're fun as hell. They're great games. Like, that just goes to show you don't always have to spend $300 million to make a great
Nope.
game. You
Exactly.
need passion, you need a good team, and you need execution. And you can tell when he comes out on the Game Awards, he's super passionate, and I'm pretty sure his team probably respects the hell out of him, and they get stuff done. And I mean, maybe that's where games got to go in the future, is that everything can't be 140-hour games. Looking at you, Assassin's Creed, like, shorten shit up, man. People don't have the time to invest
Agreed.
150 hours getting through games anymore. We just don't. Like, nobody wants that crap. Today's kids are even worse because they're freaking TikTok generation. They got 5 minute attention spans. They ain't sitting there for 50 hours to play a game, to do a fetch quest of a fetch quest before you can do the main quest. Like, nobody
Yeah, I
wants
hate
that
that.
shit. Just make a good
Me,
narrative game.
I'm done with that too. That's one of the-
Xbox should be
like-
arcadey like. They shouldn't be like Sony, where Sony's doing all that fetch quest stuff. Xbox, just be
Yeah.
like you were with the original Xbox. That's all we
How
want.
about we get also an adult themed game? Like I'm
Yeah.
at the point where I really if I mean I love video games, but how many times am I going to break a box or open a treasure box? Like
Yeah, for real.
I've been through every type of game that there is.
Oh, look.
But I kind of really do want. I'm not saying I want porno, but I want I want really themed games that are adult.
Language,
nature,
action, nudity, sex. Yeah.
like you could blow somebody's head off. I mean, and splats all over. Like I don't want to. I think we're at the point where, if you're a parent, you should be a parent, and that doesn't mean that that means you buy your kids. But if I'm an adult, guess what? I want to. I mean, I see these stupid movies and I see these ridiculous things with everything that's allowed. I want that to be in a video game. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm very very pro free speech. I mean, I'm not saying that you go overboard. I mean, the game. I remember one game, and I would say that it was over the top, and that was the game Hatred. I don't know if you guys remember the
I remember
story
that
of
one.
Hatred.
Yep.
But the point is that I do want games to have. I want us to be able to have games where what's allowed in a movie is allowed in a video game. Put it that way.
True.
So and I think that hurts the industry because we're the video game industry is held to a certain standard, and it's like, come on. Every kid in the world has a phone. They have, that's Pandora's gate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah,
not
you can-
locking down your son's phone or your kid's phone, guess what?
I know, man.
They've
You can
seen-
get on.
they've seen
You can get on Twitter for 5 minutes and have a big old snatch looking at you. You know what I mean? Like, what the heck?
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
worse. And I mean, but the point is that overall, I want to see the gaming industry grow, and this is not on Xbox, but GTA 6. I mean, you could even say it is also an example of something where if X has momentum now, like we said, and then they can really string this along where they just keep stringing along momentum, because like let's say they start now, Then Forza comes out and it's a 92 Metacritic game and it's awesome. They got that. Then they got June 7th. They get the Gears and it's exclusive.
Yep.
Then you get like the summer, which is always down like a slow time. But then you roll into Halo. You roll into Gears exclusive. You roll into Fable. Who knows? Maybe exclusive. Then you got GTA 6. You're the only place where you can play Fable, Gears, Halo, exclusive. See how it starts to all like it starts to build.
Oh,
Think about that.
exactly.
Like you could say, hey guys, hey, and this is not, I'm not saying, who cares? Like console war, whatever, it's fun. Hey guys, I got Fable, I got Halo, I got Gears, you got GTA, so do I, but you don't have those 3 other games. Well, they say, well, I got Wolverine. But the point is that that's pretty hefty. You got 3 freaking games, and this is their 25th anniversary year.
Yep.
So this doesn't scream go more than anything else. And
Yeah.
I do feel that she understands that. I
And-
have to say, I
and-
think that she gets it.
if the Series X in particular, like I said, at this point, I wouldn't even bother like even making too many Series S. I'd focus all in the X because it's got the disk drive, it's the most powerful of your 2 units. Just start manufacturing those puppies and make them the cheapest console coming into the holiday season. So even if Sony gets the marketing rights for GTA 6, all Xbox got to do is. This is the least expensive way to play GTA 6 this holiday season,
And
right?
put
Or
them
something
back
like
in the
that, you know what I
freaking
mean?
catalogs
right.
too.
And they would kick ass. And
That's huge. That's huge. Listen,
everybody would walk in, see a $700 PlayStation up here in Canada, go, I can get the Xbox, it's $200 less, and I can play GTA on it, and it's going to run probably nearly as good as a PS5 Pro. Yeah, man, go for it.
And I could play Gears too, and I could play, think about it. That's the point. Is it starts to gain momentum, and it starts to compound. Like people, I always say, they live in the day, and especially people like I argue with in Twitter, or like I see that come across my timeline. It's like I'm always thinking about, like, I understand, like, when you look at things, you think what matters today is going to matter in 6 months. I got news for you. It's not even close. Things that you think don't matter could be the most biggest things 6 months down the line.
Yep.
And like you said, that's a prime example. If you have a $200 difference in Canada or whatever, you have a $499 Series X, and you could get GTA 6, and then you could have Gears 2, and you know what I mean? Like there's exclusive, and you have GTA 6. There's way to spin this where you could start to get the momentum going, and there's so many scenarios that we went over today. That's a great thing, because in January we were asking about on my game save.
Yep.
They have very little to lose. They have the cheapest console. They can play the best games. And here's the thing. Sure, they might take a hit on the console. They're going to have to accept that. But guess what happens? That person buys the Xbox. They likely buy an extra controller. They buy a subscription. They might even buy Gears when it comes out. They might buy GTA 6. You see what I mean? And it gets them back in your ecosystem. It gets them looking at your product. It gets them spending money with you, not the competitor, this holiday season. And that's how you win your fans back. And guess what? That kid who buys GTA 6 on an Xbox and his friend is trying to get a console, guess what? His friend is more likely to buy an Xbox. And parents are going to be like,
I don't care. Don't get the $700 one. Get the $500. I promise. I'll do the yard work.
Yep.
That's all. That's all it is. That's all it is.
That's all it is. Ashley, you're welcome. We just did your phone marketing for you. Right there.
We take hundreds, and I like plain cheese pizza. I think that they like pepperoni. And thank you very much. You're welcome. I'm sorry, but no,
this is not rocket
true,
science.
though.
This is common sense.
I hate to say it. I hate to say it. We're spot on. And the sad thing is that they'll go in a room with 10 executives, guys that that do this for a living, and they won't have the type of conversation that us 4 did. You know what I mean? Like, we're really hitting the notes. We're hitting the spots. Like the whole conversation, if you replay this whole conversation, there's been a lot of really strong points made by each and every one of us. And that's because we're free. We're not trying to. We're
Oh.
speaking freely, and we're also we're part of it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Oh,
you
and
know
We're
Asha,
people
invested
always say this to
financially.
me.
Asha,
know-
when demand goes up for your product, guess what also goes up? Stock market prices. Make shareholders
Yes.
really happy.
Listen, I think honestly, I think that I'm gonna say she gets it. So we're gonna see in the next 2 weeks. I'll be on next week if they have a price drop or whatever. I'll try to make it anyway. I think we covered the gambit here. I'm tired, so I'm gonna bow out. I don't know if you guys want to stick on, but
Yeah,
I
and
think we
I'm
killed
just
it.
going to end up by saying, look, Asha, if Asha is listening, she gets this feedback. Okay, I'll just end off by saying this: you can listen to a lot of influencer channels, and you can listen to a lot of the big channels, the channels that have massive subscription, and that's fine and dandy. They're right about stuff too, but the problem with a lot of those channels is you have to remember they're worried about their channel. They're not just worried about their perception of Xbox and our official opinions. I have nothing to lose by being honest with you on Xbox because I'm
Same
being
with us.
straight up. Same with Eric Perry. We're small chumps, but we're just as passionate as the guy who's got the 100,000 subscribers on his channel. We're just as passionate as those guys, but we're just being honest and upfront. We're giving you an honest opinion without the kumbaya and, oh yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'm going to pat you back because, like I said, sometimes you said to be loyal is you got to tell people to their face the shit that they won't want to hear so that
Yes.
they can make the
Yep.
right decisions. That's the bottom
If you
line. And a lot
surround
of those
yourself
people have not been straight up.
And here's the thing, and this is the way I'll close. If you surround yourself with yes men and yes women, you're your Xbox of 2024. That's the bottom line.
Ooh.
You
Amen.
need people to tell you that, hey, this is the way it is, or I don't agree. You can't surround yourself with yes people, and that's the bottom line. And if anybody does listen to this, and I hope that they do, to me, like I said, I don't think you're going to get better commentary if you tried. I'd put us up against. I'd put up this panel against anybody in the world with Xbox.
Thank
The
you.
specific niche, and that's the truth. And I say that with 100% conviction. I would not be. I would say I go up against that. It's like I thought about that today. I'd go into a room with anybody. There's certain guys like us. We get it. Like we've been through. We live this. I've been an Xbox. I have 400,000 posts of Xbox.
Wow.
I was on System Wars fighting with people and having the whole entire forum in 2007 saying I was crazy that Connect was going to be a success. And then when it did become a success, I used to say I took it down. I took down System Wars. But the bottom line is that we're super passionate. We're super knowledgeable. And, I think honestly, I think we made a lot of really good points. And I do think that I think we're going to see something in the next week. And if there is, obviously I'll be tweeting about it.
Nice.
And next week, when something relevant happens, I'm going to be here too. I'll definitely try to make it.
Amen. Yep.
I'll always try to
Amen.
help out, guys. And
Awesome.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for
I
coming
am
on.
shot.
Well,
Thank
Tim,
you guys, and you guys rule. Like you guys, are to me, the realest Xbox fans. And even though it's not a competition, but I think I'm pretty good authority on the thing because I've seen them all. So you guys
Yeah,
are.
and that's why-
Now we're all New
gold mine.
Yorkers, except for
and
Noof.
Tim, that's why I said we've always loved and respected you. That's why I never turned my back on you and never
Thank
said
you.
like Tim Dog's an a-hole because I understood you. I understood where you were coming from, and I knew I could hear the passion. I seen your tweets, I watched your podcast, I listened to you for many hours, and I always said Tim Dog is a straight up an Xbox fan. He loves his brand. He would literally bleed green for you guys. Listen to what he says. He's passionate about it. And
Thank
I
you.
knew when you were bringing some of the hard opinions, I was like you. I was like, he's only speaking out of love for the brand. He's not speaking out of hatred because
Yes.
he's doing this for clicks. He's doing it because he sees exactly what I'm seeing. He's seeing the
Yeah.
deterioration of this amazing company. It should be on the top of the world. Should be
Yep.
literally almost kicking PlayStation's ass into the ground over here. Maybe not in Japan, whatever. That's over here. Xbox should be on top of the world. Xbox should be on everybody's lips. Their game should be like massive, like this, But they have screwed up time and time again, and all we did was call them out on it, and that's all. We're just passionate fans. We're not always right, not always wrong, but that's why I've always respected you. This panel has respected
Thank
you.
Yes.
Because of that, because you just were honest and upfront, and again, it wasn't a show.
No, and thank you so much for that. Like I talked about, I don't know if you hear it was a tough time. There were people that I had helped and gotten to the community and done a lot of things, got them in the door. And when it when it went the other way, those people forget about you, and that's not a nice feeling. But the guys like you, you've always been really nice to me, and listen, we've always respected each other.
Yeah.
But again, we've talked about it passionately, and that's all it really was. I just was, I think we proved out right. You know what I mean? It was pretty crazy what they were doing. It's like, I always say it's like going to McDonald's and you see like Big Mac. You see burger, you see the Whopper. It's like, what's going on here? Like, doesn't make any sense. What is wrong with Burger King? It's a big joke, and I didn't. Again, it was more of a thing where I felt like they were disrespecting the fans, and I still hold to that. I do think that they were disrespecting the fans, and they spoke so much about how much they respected the fans and this and that, and it's like, okay, well then why are you doing this? And at the very least, if they were doing it, I could have accepted it, but they weren't being honest about it. And that was like my main thing is that that's why I was really heavy on the hard opinion, was because if they're gonna lie to you about this, they're gonna lie to you about everything. And whatever. Though that chapter's closed, and we're on to a new chapter, and
New
we are
chapter.
Oh,
Xbox,
hell yeah.
and great show, and I'll see you guys next week.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks for the kind words.
Cheers, big dog.
All right, guys.
All
Good
right.
night.
Peace. Good night.
Tired.
There you go. You don't sum it up any better. Yeah.
Well, that was funny, Noof, because Tim Dog at the last second, right before I was setting up, he was like, I want to come on tonight. I was like, okay.
Nice.
Man,
So-
talk about getting fired up. You guys got me like hyped up. You and Tim knew, like I'm like ready to go now.
But that's just it, right? It's about that passion. It's about that fire inside. It's just a brand. It's gaming. I get it. It's not that serious. Like, we shouldn't be shooting bullets at each other over the stuff. It's just that, it's an enjoyment. It's an investment. And, this brand should be bigger than it is. And it shouldn't be going through all the crap that it's gone through. Like it's just mismanaged on so many levels. And we see it. And we're not here to kumbaya and sugarcoat it.
That's what got us in trouble on Gaming After Dark. And that's what got us in trouble on Game Complainers, because we kept it going. Like we stayed the straight and narrow with this whole thing.
You
know what I mean?
guys don't call out PlayStation. You don't talk about any crap. Yes, we do. Are you listening? I have done on many occasions.
They just don't want to hear it. That's all.
This whole DRM thing that they're talking about right now, I think that's a load of shit.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something, okay? On Game Complainers, Frank used to be a guest every once in a while, okay? And he's my cousin in real life. He's really my cousin. He would come on every once in a while. Anthony and I would pin him against the wall and be like, bro, the Wii U sucks. Blah, 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 blah. And he'd be like, please, like, leave me alone. And he wouldn't come back.
I'd be like, they have some good stuff, and then you guys would just like destroy it. That was it. But hey, they needed.
You know, in Home Alone, where they
Nintendo-
pinned him at the end of the movie, they pin him on the doorway.
You put me on the hook.
Yeah, we put him on the hook.
Nintendo needed to be called out. There's no defense, and we've done it for PlayStation.
We
We've
did
done
it for
to Nintendo
PlayStation
with
for
the Switch.
years.
Yeah. But
They
you know
showed
what's funny
Spider-Man
is
at
that-
4
look how big
E3s.
Nintendo is. The funny is, look how big Nintendo is now because they failed with the Wii U. And
Yeah.
and it's even weirder because they actually maximize their business because they didn't even have to make a portable anymore. Because they rolled the portable and the home console all into one. They don't even have to make like a Game Boy or a new 3DS. It's the one thing.
But
Like so they literally cut down on manufacturing. They made it all in one. They're like super successful these as probably they've ever been. Like this is insane. Like, yeah, they do a lot of shady shit too, but like at least Nintendo's sort of up front. You kind of know what you're getting with Nintendo,
right.
and you kind of understand kind of why they do some of the things that they do because of where they are in the market. Doesn't make it always right, but that's Nintendo.
But
You know,
look
we
at that
call them
though.
out time and time again, right?
Look at the Wii U though. That
Yeah,
thing failed so badly that they
yeah,
started listening to the fans. They said, "Okay, next console, it's one thing. It's one little unit. Next, controller support.
yeah,
Controller support was abysmal on the Wii U. Okay?
yeah. And
On the Switch,
Labo
forget it.
failed. And Labo failed so miserably they didn't bring it back the second year.
Oh, well.
Imagine if I went online and I was like, the Wii U was the greatest thing ever. And then there was an echo chamber of people saying that. They would have been like, yeah, this is great. And they would have just kept going with it. And Nintendo would have gone out of business. Like it was that bad. That's why
The
you
only
need, if
the
you love
only
something, you need to
console
tell them.
There's only two consoles I consider that were legitimately great that died before their time, and that was the Dreamcast and the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
100%.
poorly marketed. Maybe it was just again where they came out in terms of the market, the timing of both units. But like if you think how big a PlayStation Vita would be today, I think it would be massively a bigger success than it was when it came out. Because I think the problem with the Vita launch was it came out around when cell phones were really taking off. And Nintendo was killing it with the 3DS, and they were kind of like sort of had the lock on the market. And then Sony just didn't even try. They brought out like 2 or 3 launch titles and never fucking bothered after that. Like that thing could have been huge. It was a great piece of hardware.
That
They had one Uncharted game on it. They never brought out a God of War game. They never brought out nothing for that thing. It was left to the third party guys to do it. And it was like, what happened? Like, you know, you don't, if you're going to go in on anything, you got to go all in. You can't be half assing it. And Dreamcast started out real well, but Sega just didn't have the money, I don't think, and just felt a little defeated, you know, executing and trying to keep that thing going.
Yeah, well, the Vita, that was Sony's thing, and we talked about this on our show years ago when this happened with the Vita. If it does, Sony's problem is if it doesn't hit like immediately, they abandon it.
Yeah,
And they did
yeah,
that with the
exactly.
VR, the VR2. They still do that to this day. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Xbox will shove it down your throat to the point where people either accept it to connect or they get rid of it to connect. And but at least they try. You know what I mean? Sony is like,
Yeah.
no, immediately it's cut off. It's like, wait a minute, like you didn't even try. Like that's competition though. That's why these companies
Yeah.
need to be around. Because while one guy's lazy, the other guy's not going to be lazy. Well, now everyone's lazy except for Nintendo because they're still releasing freaking games every quarter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever. You know what really
Like I
pissed
said-
me off about Phil Spencer though? I was buying all those special edition Xbox Ones, and then he
Mhm.
did an interview and he was like, well, I'd rather people just buy one Xbox console and not several. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. I'm the one adding numbers to your sales. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Why would you
exactly.
ever want that as a boss? You know what's funny too? That you just reminded me. One of the big pivotal things where I was like, I think I need to get off this ship is when he said, I think he was talking about Call of Duty. He said, we're not going to be doing slimy platform things. And I'm like, dude, even if you don't want to do that, you can't be a nice guy. They always say nice guys finish last. This business is cutthroat. Sony will do anything it takes
They did.
to get people.
Look at
They
that.
will pay people. They will do anything. They'll do whatever it takes. Nintendo, the same thing. They will do what it
Look
takes.
at Jim Ryan. The minute they announced that they were going to merge with ABK or buy them or purchase them, whatever, Jim Ryan
Yeah.
flew in a freaking airplane.
He was on his way there, but like the minute he heard, because
Yeah.
that's the thing. You have to do. It's not necessarily slimy. It's competition. You have to do cutthroat things. Steve Ballmer would do cutthroat things because it's about your brand's health. It's not about being, I'm a nice guy and everybody's gonna play everywhere. It's like, no. If then don't sell a console. If you want to do that,
Yeah.
then just put games out and make great games and whatever. If you want to have a platform, you have to do slimy platform things.
Yeah.
You have to have exclusivity. You have to give people who are subscribed to Game Pass exclusive things,
Yeah.
skins, early access, anything. You have to
Yes.
make us feel like we matter. You can't just say, well, everybody's the same across the board, so you could just buy a PlayStation. No, like make us feel valued. We're the ones paying for your platform that you're trying to keep alive. And they weren't doing that. And I'm glad that that's gone now.
Yeah, I mean, competition, and no matter what, it's in vehicles, music, games, movies. There's always that's the one thing that's guaranteed in this life. You're always going to have competition. The only thing that's not guaranteed is how much of the pie are you going to get, and how much of the pie are you willing to lose. And I guess it really depends on how hard you're willing to fight. If you're just going to concede victory to people, well, it's going to be an easy domination, isn't it? But when you the thing, and that's what makes it frustrating, because Xbox has the financial means. They have the power, like I said, to reverse course of action. They're not one of these companies that's like sitting there and it's like, oh well, we just can't. It's not like a sports team. Like some of these sports teams, they got no money and they can't hire players and they can't do stuff because they're kind of stuck. They're going to compete to the best of their ability, but they're kind of stuck. And I feel like Xbox is not that. Like Xbox is at the top of the totem pole. That doesn't mean they go out and spend stupid money and do stupid things just because they got it. But it does mean that they can be a little bit more. They can reevaluate their position and do different things.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's why they got to get feedback. And I feel, as a real customer, that they're going to get feedback from people like me, Frank, and Noof Nukem and Tim Dog, because we're not in this ecosystem that just wants to say things that everyone wants to hear. We have people in the chat room tonight that they were angry at me for saying bad things about Xbox. They're in here being civil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they understand where we're coming from. They're finally understanding like where we were coming from the whole time. This was never console warring.
Yeah.
This was, I have all the freaking consoles to begin with, but I was primarily on Xbox. And this show, we're explaining to you why we kind of jumped off Xbox for a little bit, because they screwed up. They did all this stuff. Frank said this, they didn't respect us as customers.
No.
So we took off. Now, if they're going to get their stuff together, we'll come back, but you got to get us back. I got 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
Get both my feet back in, please.
Yeah, we should be dying to spend money on this brand and not going, is it really worth the while?
I spent a lot of money on this brand.
That's exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly. But it should be a no-brainer. Like when I go to buy a game, I shouldn't even have to question which console I want it for. Xbox is my favorite. I'm going to buy everything there. It'll be the odd Sony exclusive and the Nintendo exclusive. You know why I'm going to buy those? Because they're exclusive, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't have a Nintendo or a PlayStation. People say, well, maybe it should be one. Well, we're not into that point where there's ever going to be just one console ecosystem. Now, in a perfect world,
Right.
Sure, that would probably be great. I don't see that happening anytime soon. There's probably going to be at least 2 companies going head to head. Is there room for 3? Totally. There's totally room for 3.
Of course.
There's room for more if they wanted to do it, but you got to be willing to invest, and you gotta invest in your fans. And it's kind of ironic that you have this amazing game playing on your screen the whole night. Killer Instinct. We asked for it. They brought it back. Did an absolutely crazy. That game is insane.
The
And
game
look how
is
good it
beautiful.
looks today. Yeah, it's beautiful. Look at it. It still looks incredible. It looks almost as good as any of the fighters that have come out in the last couple of years. Great
still
character
plays great.
designs, great graphics, played
It's 13
amazing.
Old right now.
13 and looks like that and plays amazing, guys. If you haven't played that Killer Instinct, go do yourself a favor and try it, because if you like fighting games, that thing is incredible, and it's packed with content, right? But this is what I was saying, like, bring us back. This is the stuff we'd love to see, where you can have a great title and and it's a throwback to the original days, even a throwback to Nintendo, because we all know that Killer Instinct originated on the Super Nintendo in the arcades. It was made by Rare, which is also owned by Xbox, who
Yep.
obviously didn't do this game because it was what's the name of the studio who did this
It
one?
was Iron Galaxy or something.
Iron Galaxy did this one, along with I think it co-developed with somebody else too.
Yeah,
They did a
Iron
great
Galaxy.
job, right?
I think they started it and then someone else took over. I forgot who it was.
Helix, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. You're right. Helix. Huh?
Some-
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, Helix. Yeah, oddly enough, right? Helix.
It was
but that's,
Iron
that's
Galaxy
right.
and Double Helix.
Double
and
Helix. There
Yeah.
you go. And rare. Right? So there you go. That's all we're asking. We're not asking for miracles here, guys. We're just asking for them, again, don't forget your roots, simplify your game plan, and then get out there and execute. That's all you got to do. And give us, value for the money. Games are going to get more expensive. That's, nature of the beast, but just give us bang for the buck. I never complained about paying full price for my games. Again, if I really want a game, I will pay full price on day one, the FOMO. And if your game just does not appeal to me enough, I will wait for a sale. That's how it was in the old days. It's how it's been 10 years ago. It's how it is for me today. It's that simple. You have to convince me. You have to make me want your product. I only have so much money to go around, as do all of us. But again, make great products and we will buy them. If we don't get them on day one, we'll probably get them a couple months down the road. But I guarantee you, make a great product and we will purchase it. But if you're going to put it all on the PlayStation, you're basically taking it out of our hands. It's like, well, so they're basically saying that if we're going to put it all on PlayStation, then why do you really need an Xbox? And that's the question. So really, what is there to keep you? So either you're going to say it's because you have all your history and your backlog of games, or it's your friends, or it's the online. Right? And I have to be honest, a couple years ago, like 360 era, Xbox Online like shattered PlayStation. It was no competition.
Right.
But it's not so far off now. I don't see a big difference between playing PlayStation Online or Xbox Online. They got a party chat system. Xbox got that too. Xbox started with it.
They're all using Discord now
there's
anyway.
Not enough differences, right?
Yeah.
But I like the Xbox controller. I've always said I think they get the better controller. I love the thumbsticks. I love the feel of their controllers. They make some great stuff. And they've always made the better collector stuff too. Like whether it's the custom consoles or custom controllers, Xbox hands down. PlayStation stuff sucks compared to Xbox. Like all they do is put like a little paint job or maybe a sticker on something. I'll never forget that stupid that Spider-Man PS4, the PS4 Pro Spider-Man. It was like, that's such a I bought the damn thing, but when I got it home, I'm like, God, this is lame. It's fucking 3 layers of fucking ketchup red with a big white spider slapped on top. Like I could have bought a sticker at the Dollarama, put it on top, and it got the same effect. They can at least paint it the middle layer blue. Would have looked like Spider-Man's tights. No, let's minimize it.
The Last of Us 2 PS4 Pro was Ellie's tattoo like engraved on. It's like, who the hell wants that?
Nah.
It's like a little leaf or something engraved on the machine.
Probably the PS3 was the PS4 Darth Vader edition was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, Frank had that and it broke.
I had that.
Yeah, that was cool. And that Xbox 360, they had the one that was R2D2. That shit was awesome.
I got 3 of those in this house.
Came with the 3PO controller. I was like, dude, I was so jealous that I was, oh my God, I want that. But I did have the Halo. I had the Halo Xbox One, and that was awesome. The green one with the orangey hard drive or whatever.
Yep.
On the top, or the disc tray was like looked at the Master Chief's helmet. That was cool. That was a nice one. That was the one my wife bought for me first.
Nice.
I wish I still had that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we have all the collectible stuff downstairs. I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. People give us crap for being these Sony guys. It's like, bro, I have more Xboxes than Sony products in this house. I have more money invested in Xbox than Sony. And yes, I bought a PlayStation 1 a long time ago when it first came out. But I also bought an Xbox a month after it came out. Just saying. And I've been on there ever since. Yeah. That's why I'm here right now talking about this and messaging Tim Dog. Everyone's freaking, everyone's like sending me stuff to send to him to put in his little document he's going to be writing. So
isn't it crazy that Xbox was brand new, right? And most of us, we saw Halo and we were like, holy crap, I have to have that. Like that game just sold the whole brand. So imagine now if they hit with a good Gears, a good Halo, like it could happen again. It was brand new. Everyone was already set. They already were on Nintendo or PlayStation, and Xbox came out of the woodwork and said, hang on.
I'll tell you this, if that rumor is true about the new Halo being like sort of like Arc Raiders, but it's with Halo, dude, I think that shit's gonna tank.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I heard that and I wasn't too fond of that.
That's not where it's at.
I just want Halo, man.
You're getting away. Yes, we want Halo. Halo does not need to be anything but Halo. This is what they keep.
I want Halo, not J-Lo.
Other games. Yeah, right. At this point, I'll take a bowl of Jello. The games are going to be suck.
Make sure it's not roofie
Jello.
Jello's not roofie.
Oh man, guys, I'm gonna let you close her out or do whatever you got to do. I got to take off, but I've stayed a lot longer than I intended to. But I had a great time. It's
Awesome.
always good to hang out with you dudes as always, and I'm glad I could be here for this inaugural episode.
I'm glad to hear
Love
too.
the
Yeah.
graphics learning.
We didn't even expect Tim Dog to be on. Like again, at the last second, literally, I was getting ready, and then he's like, "Oh, come on!" I was like, "Okay."
It was a hell of an episode. Holy moly. It was a great episode.
Fantastic.
Shout out to Incredible Chat, man. Again, a lot of the same guys that come out on Sunday mornings are in here. Great chats. And
You want to
faces I
promote
haven't
your
seen.
show so they know
So-
where to go?
Yeah, so for those of you in the chat who are not familiar with my channel, I do have a show. It is on Sunday mornings at 10 Eastern Time. That is 9 Central and 8 a.m. Mountain. And it is called Crazy About Gaming. It's a multi-platform video game podcast where we just, again, we chat about the latest and greatest in games and some of the news issues that are going around. And it is no console warring foolishness. And there is... it's just a fun show, and we've had some great guests. The two gentlemen that are on this panel were there last week, and we had a great time. And hopefully, I have different guests on and stuff, and we're hopefully that you'll come and check it out if you haven't, and you can check it on the replay. So my channel is simple; it's just like my name. It's Noof Nukem. Go check it out, and hopefully we'll see you there. And hit that like and subscribe, and make sure you do the same for these gentlemen. Thanks, guys.
All right, Noof. Thanks again.
Anytime, gentlemen. Have a great night.
You too. Have a great night.
And wish me luck. I hope my taxes don't crucify me here.
Good luck on your taxes and go Oilers. There you go.
Oh boy. That's only started. I'll be here for another 2 hours. Later, gents. Take care.
Yeah.
All right, see ya. Do you think he just didn't know how to turn off Discord?
Yeah. He had to stay because he didn't know how to turn it off.
he couldn't turn it off.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Dreadpool, if you want to come in, you got to let me know if you want to come in. If you want, you could come on now, or you could be on next week. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, that was again right before I went live. Tim Dog was like, "Hey, I'll come on tonight." I was like, "Okay."
Great.
So that was awesome. And then he's like, "I'll come on every week that I can make it." I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't know how long this series would last, but that's cool with me, man. And maybe Noof can pop in, even if he can pop in for a little bit on a Monday. That'd be cool too. But we'll talk about that. We'll see how that goes. But yeah,
I mean, there's always going to be a lot to say. So
yeah, again, this isn't like an Xbox news podcast per se. This is more of airing our grievances so they can fix the brand. And we're not saying that everything we say needs to be done or needs to be done the way we say it, but it needs to be taken into accountability when they have these meetings and say, "Hey, listen, this guy said this. Is there relevancy to the?" Yeah, I think there might be a little bit. Or one guy might say, "Yeah, that guy's dead right," or "That guy's an idiot," or whatever. This opens up the company's mind a little bit to sit down and think, okay, what are real people doing when they're thinking about buying these things? Or what are real customers doing when they're buying these things? So
we have our ears to the ground with this stuff. So like you said, we can tell them kind of, practical applications for this stuff, what people like and don't like.
yeah, it's just, and a lot of people in the chat room felt the same way. You know what I mean? And they followed us here to this new channel. There's a secondary channel, which I didn't think I was going to be making, but I said, let me make this secondary so that it'll be dedicated only to this. There's no funny stuff on here. There's no parody videos, none of that stuff. You don't have to worry about 10 different podcasts or streams or anything. This is going to stay here in podcast form on this channel. There's not going to be any other content on this channel. At least not right now. I don't know how long this will last. This might last till the end of the year. It might last till the end of the summer. I don't know. But as long as these guys want to do it every Monday, I'm down. But yeah, it's just I don't know what to say, but
No, this was great. I mean, but there's always going to be a lot of stuff to say as they move forward and stuff. We're going to say things we like, say things we don't like. Hopefully more things we like than dislike.
But I think we could all agree, and I'm sure Tim Dog and Noof will tell you this, and I'm sure some of you in the chat room, we're a lot more optimistic and excited about where Xbox is potentially going.
Yeah, 100%.
And that was the whole goal on the other channel. We gave Xbox a lot of shit because we knew that this wasn't going the right way. Noof, for years, you heard Tim Dog even say it. Noof was against Game Pass years ago, and everyone told Noof he was a nut and he was crazy and all this. And they dragged Noof Nukem through the mud, okay? I'm talking about the people. I don't know about anybody at Xbox. I have no idea about that stuff, but the people in the chats dragged Noof through the mud. They drug him through the mud for what? Because he had an opinion, and guess what? He was right. At the end of the day, it took like 10 years, but the guy was right. So always listen to what this guy tells you and never count out Noof Nukem. I'll tell you that right now, because I've been friends with this guy for a couple of years, thanks to Dreadpool, and I will never turn my back on Noof Nukem. The guy is 100%. He's a straight shooter. So
He's genuine.
he is 100% genuine. And I think tonight showed it. And always follow that guy. And he's an awesome friend. He's been awesome with us from day one. So. No, that won't be happening, RWK. Oh, I could say it, Talos, but I don't know, man. I might save it for the big turnout in June. I think we'll have about 10 people saying it together in June.
Absolutely.
I could say it.
I think
What?
we're cautiously, like you said before, we got 1 foot in. We're cautiously optimistic, but it's looking a lot better than
Well,
it's been,
I will show you, and we didn't get to this, but here it is. Those are the 5 I traded in last week. This was, what was it, a couple days before the announcement? You see what I'm saying here?
It was like the day before.
Those are
right? Or
mine.
the
All
day
5 of those are mine. The Freddy one was in my bedroom. And by the way, the guy at GameStop wouldn't let me peel the freaking Freddy sticker off that I paid $30 for. He was like, "Oh no, I'll keep the sticker on. It'll sell quicker." I was like, "You asshole. I want to peel this thing off. I paid $30 for it." Anyway, I got, and this is what, and we'll talk about this probably next week. But this is what this is what Xbox should have done. They should have offered a buyback program for anybody disenfranchised with the Series X or the Series S. I'm not saying give them all their money back, but give them Microsoft credit towards the Helix or whatever, just to take the edge off a little bit, because I feel we were rimrodded with these consoles. I'll be honest with you, and we talked about that a little bit tonight. This was supposed to be the world's most powerful console, and the PS5 Pro came out and smacked it upside the head. And the fact that games like Resident Evil 9 and Pragmata, they're not even optimized for the Series X, is absolutely ridiculous. And Microsoft should be calling up Capcom and be like, "Hey guys, how come this game's not optimized?" Whoa, hey, Capcom's going to get on it. And Capcom, they've also done other things too, where they weren't putting games on this console. Remember what was it? Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection? They announced for everything except for Xbox. People went crazy online and said, "Hey, we need this on Xbox. It has a history on Xbox." Finally, somebody at Microsoft picked up the phone and they got it done, but it came out 6-7 months after release for the other consoles. It's like, dude,
have that.
You can't do that, man. You got it. That's got to be on there day one. You got to talk to Capcom. You got to talk to these developers. Be like, "Why aren't you putting this stuff on our platform?" "Well, it doesn't sell well." Okay, well, how much will it make you put it on our console? How much do we have to shell out to get that game on our console? Because we need it on the console. And that's what wasn't getting done at Xbox. They were just letting this stuff slide. There's still that Mega Man, what was it? The one Mega Man collection that isn't on Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
It was the Zero collection or something.
I believe so, yeah.
One of them Capcom just skipped, and the Xbox was like, "Yeah, all right, you can skip it." Why?
Yeah, one of them is.
And they tried pulling out with this game, the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, And that's when everyone complained online. And then I saw Xbox people on podcasts saying, well, we don't need it. We don't need it on our platform. It's an old game anyway. It's like, no. You don't just lay down and die. You tweet the guy and you make sure it gets done. And that's what the fans did. And we now have that game. However, that game never came out physically. It only came out digitally. Not that I'm a proponent of physical anymore for the most part, but I will say it's a multi-plat game. It should be out there physically. Just saying.
Well, hopefully, if they can get the brand healthy again, these companies will invest more into them too. It's like it's all cyclical, it's all gonna hopefully work together if they could just get it going. And right now they have a little bit of momentum.
And by the way,
We'll see.
anybody that says that this photo's fake, we have video of this, by the way. These were all my machines. I had 16 consoles. And now I'm down to 11 because I traded these 5 in. And I actually have the money right here. They gave me the money on these GameStop Visa cards. I didn't even open them yet. I got to go to the ATM and pull the money out. But there's your proof right there. And on the receipt, I have all the serial numbers of those. And if anybody at Microsoft wants to check, you log into my account and you'll see all those serial numbers logged in with my account. Just saying. But I still have some in the house. I just don't have them laying around big time. And some of these were at work as well. So one of these was the kiosk that I set up earlier this year.
You spent all that time.
I spent all the time screaming at that thing. But yeah, there you go. And we have the video here. I'll just show you the video. I don't think I'd have audio because I think I turned the audio off, but there they are. That one with the receipt is not mine. Somebody with the receipt, that console with the receipt, somebody was Venmo'd the money. That's why they gave me these cards. And it said it went through, but the money didn't go through on Venmo. The guy went back, so they put it aside. But there we were. This is right before they announced the We Are Xbox news or the campaign or whatever it was. Which they got that from us, which is fine. But I do expect at some point down the line a Helix in the mail. Just saying.
Hey, it would be nice, right?
I sending everyone else consoles. Come on. You took my marketing idea. That's
and
okay.
you know what? We'll tell you the truth about it.
We got the first merch. All right. Anybody got any questions before we leave in the chat? Or are there any grievances in the chat that you guys have about the Xbox brand that you want them to fix? That's the whole point why we're here. We're here because we want this to be fixed.
And if you don't have anything this week, save it up for next week. Let us know because we'll talk about it. Because I'm sure we all have a lot of the same grievances.
Scott says Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection never came out on the Xbox. That's the one. And why? All the other Mega Mans are on there. And that's where Microsoft needs to call up Capcom and be like, hey, why are you skipping our platform? And Capcom be like, whoa. Yeah, I thought so. Please make sure you get that on. Thanks. And you hang up. That's it.
Yeah. Hopefully, with the Helix, they made a big statement that the development's supposed to be much easier. So let's hope. I mean, that nothing will skip it.
The Helix has a chance. And I ran this by Tim Dog. I said, listen, they bought ABK. They have all those old Sierra Online games. Okay? The Helix is a PC for the most part. That Windows Store, by the time Helix launches next year, that Windows Store should have all of those Sierra games that they own. They don't own all of them, but they own most of them. Should be in the Windows Store, ready to purchase. Okay? And then you have a Helix keyboard and mouse, wireless keyboard and mouse that they sell separately for $150, $200. Because for some people, that's better than the Elite controller. They want a mouse and keyboard. But you sell them that. They can play games from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020. PC and console. Forget about it.
Yeah.
That would be the ultimate
big deal.
machine for backwards compatibility. And for Legacy, forget about it. That would be insane, right? Another free idea.
That's a good idea.
So get on that, man. Like, make sure you get all those games in there. Put them on the Windows Store so they start using your platform, your ecosystem. I don't know. We could scream this until we're blue in the face, but it is what it is.
I have a whole list of stuff that I'm gonna save that we didn't even touch yet. So
Which
don't
is good.
worry.
And we might bring this
Yeah.
this ABK thing up next week. Now listen, Tim Dog, he wanted me to share this, which I shared it on X. But let me post it here for you guys. If I could find it. Getting all this freaking Pikachu wallpaper in my feed. I don't know why.
I believe I retweeted it too. The email.
Okay. Do we have, let me find the original message that he posted about that, because then I can share it right here. Okay. I'm going to paste it right here. Anyone who wants to write an email to me and I will send it to Xbox, please send it to that email address. And use the attention line, "We are Xbox." These will be emails. They'll be transparent, included as is. Use your gamer tags and not real names. So there you go. So
Keep it
basically,
professional.
yeah, I mean, basically, he wants you guys in the chat and all you guys watching, if you're disenfranchised with Xbox or you want to give them suggestion, and suggestion isn't, "Oh, can you add 60 frames to Recore 2 or something?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no,
that's
nothing
not
like that. General thing.
about the brand being in the crapper right now. Okay, how they could fix it or what your suggestions are to make sure things are good. Now, you saw Dreben in the chat earlier. He wrote something. I sent that to Tim Dog. He filed it. So, again, if you're serious about this, email him and let him know. Give him your story. Tell him where you're at with the brand, whether you left, whether you came back, if you want to come back, what they need to do to get you back, and that'll help out. I have to write an email, and Frank has to write an email, and my wife might even write an email because she has Xbox as well. And guess what? She stopped buying stuff on Xbox recently. So I suggest you all get this done, because as gamers, we're going to win. And if they don't listen to us, then they lose and we lose. So it's worth the shot. We got nothing to lose here with Xbox at this point. So
Yeah.
make
That's what I was
your,
gonna say. It's worth a shot. So
they're actually taking a survey, which we talked about last week. We said they need to start taking surveys. So that's the way to do it. And shout out to Tim Dog for even doing all this. That guy could have walked away like he said earlier. He could have said, "Ah, the hell with it." But I mean, he's trying to get this done, and hopefully we can save Xbox. And I'm not saying me and Frank. I'm saying all of us, everyone watching, can make a difference here. You know how people do those stupid petitions that never work? Well, guess what? This one might work. We don't know if it's going to work, but it might work. Let's see.
But that's the whole thing. We are Xbox. It's all of us. It's not me and you only. It's the whole fan base. It's been around for 25 years.
Exactly.
That makes
That's
it.
what I said. And then they took it. So I guess they liked it. Well, here are my shirts.
Hey, it's the truth, right?
Don't worry, I'm not selling them. Is Pikachu a Pokemon kid? Yes, he is. That has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I think Xbox should get Pokemon on their platform. No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect Dark should come back. And that would be one thing I would say. And that's, again, you don't put that in the email. Oh, we're going to bring back for what you put in the email is they got to stop canceling games that they announce. That's what you got to put. You can't say, "Oh, we got to get Perfect Dark and Banjo and bring Flight Simulator to 3D." Like that's not going to save Xbox.
You know, someone's gonna be like, "I want Banjo and I want it today." It's like, geez, like how? Give him a little bit of a.
Well, he's gonna
break.
any crap that he gets, he's not gonna include in the
Yeah,
document he's putting together. So
I'm sure he'll
it would be a
condense.
waste of time to write all crazy stuff. So, and again,
Right.
include your gamer tag so he can verify who you are. Imagine if he wants a gamer tag so they could ban everyone who writes in.
Any criticism, you're banned. That's it.
I was gonna make that
Please
joke
don't
when he
do
was on, but you know, we were talking about all this other stuff. But there you go. All right, everyone, we're gonna head out. We went way longer than we expected. We were supposed to do the show for an hour or two. We're now going on what? 4 hours? I'm sorry, 2 hours and 39 minutes. So there you go. So we
Yeah,
went
I
about
think
40 minutes
usually
over.
usually it'll be a little bit of a shorter show, but this was we were on fire tonight with this stuff, so it
And you
had to
know
go
what?
long.
You know, I know Frank doesn't want to hear this, but if we're on fire next week, it might go on the same time. I don't even know, but we're trying
Sure.
to
I'm not
get in and get out, but we'll see.
I'm not gonna step in and stop that when Noof and Tim are going. Man, it's I love listening to those guys. I could listen to them all day.
Well, we need
So
people to speak up because then this stuff's not going to get done. And you know what? If Xbox doesn't take our feedback or the chat's feedback or the email feedback, then they're doomed. I hate to say it. And again, I'm not saying that I myself am going to save Xbox. I'm saying as a community of Xbox fans, we could try to save this thing. If they listen. If they don't listen, then it is where it was in January. But I think there's a shot. I think very minimal shot, but I think there's a shot that they can listen to the fans and get this done. So, all right,
We'll
guys.
see.
We will see. We will see you all later. Later, if I can speak tonight, I haven't drinking any water. We will see you all later. We will see you all next week at the same time, same place. And we'll see you tomorrow night on Perto Foxy channel for Gaming Ain't Easy. And then we'll see you all on Wednesday night for the Game Complainer Zio. Isn't that crazy? All this happened when we only did one show.
Now it's the whole thing.
We did that other show and now we did this show. It's crazy. But there you go, guys. So I will catch you all later.